Waalaikumsalam.
Oke, Waalaikumsalam. Selamat pagi, Prof. Dodi.
Pagi, Pak Dono.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bu Tetri. Sehat selalu, Bu Tetri.
Iya, Pak Dono. Sehat.
Ini Prof. Ivan sudah datang, Pak Ivan.
Sudah, Pak.
Selamat pagi, Pak Ivan. Good morning.
Ditutup orang, nggak apa-apa, biarin aja.
Silakan diminum kopinya.
Ben bakoh.
Gimana nih, Prof? Di rumah apa di kampus ini?
Di rumah,
Di
Pak Dono. Iya.
Nanti ada ujian nanti, ada ujian.
Kita ujian duluan, Pak Dono. Dan hari Senin kemarin. Udah selesai kita.
Siap. Ini baru aja tadi ujian.
Nah, alhamdulillah tinggal 1 orang lagi di bimbingannya yang belum selesai.
Oke. Yang benar tinggal 1.
Mana nih Pak Evan ini?
Pak Ivan
ada Pak Evan. Ada kok.
Ada ini. Ya, kita mulai saja. Good morning, Dr. Ivan. Selamat pagi. Very good morning.
Selamat pagi. Selamat pagi.
Sehat ya? Sehat.
Sehat. Very good.
Very good.
Selamat pagi also, Prof. Dodi. Wah, ini.
Host dari Bu Tetri sebagai host ya. Yang jadi host nanti siapa ini? Dari akuntansi.
Saya, Pak.
Oh, Budian ya?
Bu Caca, Pak.
Oh, Bu Caca. Nggih.
Oh, Budian Caca tuh ini.
Oh,
Caca Dina Budian Caca.
Baik. Karena kemarin sudah sambutan, Prof. Nanti saya tidak perlu sambutan, Prof. Dodi.
Ya.
Langsung saja. Pak Ivan, have a good time with our student.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much. Mungkin bisa dimulai, Bu Caca. Kita mendengar dulu, kemudian langsung saja dimulai oleh Prof. Dodi.
Enggak, Bu Caca.
Yeah, betul. Yes, I'm running the campus. Yeah, I'm running the campus. Don't have. Yeah. Okay, alright. Okay.
Hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Oke, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much once again to Dr. Evan Lau, also Professor Dr. Dodi as a moderator. Thank you very much. Hope we have a good health and also success in this morning. Kemudian karena kemarin sudah saya buka, kami persilahkan Prof. Dodi untuk memulai diskusi sebagai moderator. Semoga acara ini bermanfaat untuk prodi akuntansi khususnya dan juga pada bangsa Indonesia pada umumnya. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Waktu dan tempat kami persilahkan Prof. Dodi. Silahkan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih kepada Pak Dono yang telah memberikan kesempatan pada saya untuk menjadi moderator di sesi yang saya yakin akan luar biasa ini. Karena our lecturer today is very talented persons. Penelitian boleh, nyanyi boleh, wah, running juga boleh, semuanya boleh. Dr. Evan luar biasa itu kan. Mulai dari Q1 sampai ke first tier marathon runner. Wah, boleh itu. Nyanyi pun kalau boleh ikut Indonesian Idol itu boleh itu. Dr. Evan itu. Jadi multi talented person. Jadi ya memang sangat hebat kayak beliau ini. Jadi kita akan mendapatkan banyak masukan ya. Monggo nanti teman-teman ya, apakah ya S1, S2, S3 silakan bertanya nanti kepada Dr. Evan sebanyak-banyaknya ya, tidak usah malu bertanya. Dan hari ini akan bahas dua hal ya, Dr. Evan. Satu tentang research design dan yang kedua tentang analisis data. Jadi silakan nanti akan bertanya ya, monggo kesempatan ini sehingga nanti kita bisa membuat proposal yang baik dan penelitian yang baik sehingga nanti bisa menjadi tugas akhir yang baik, apakah itu skripsi, tesis atau disertasi. Ya, dan saya berharap nanti dari sini ide itu akan lebih mengerucut sehingga bisa membuat suatu hal yang baik. Ya, terima kasih. Saya pikir saya tidak perlu memperkenalkan lebih rinci, lebih lanjut mengenai Dr. Evan, karena kemarin sudah dibaca CV-nya yang kalau dibaca mungkin nggak akan cukup 1 jam pertemuan ini. Silakan Dr. Evan, time is yours to record a lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Dodi. I'm very honored again. Like yesterday, this morning, these 2 days, I'm very, especially today, I'm very, I feel fresh and surely, hopefully, I will benefit this lecture benefited the participants and the rest of those who attending this morning. So I will share the screen dulu. I've sent the slide to the I've sent the slide to the one that contacted me. Okay, so this one will be very much related to what we have discussed yesterday. Yesterday talks about a very basic what is research and then a research scientific research, and then we move to the problem statement. How actually you're going to look at how actually to define the problem statement or researchable issue. And for most of you still remember yesterday I post something there inside the slides. My last slide is that I asked everyone if you could have spent some time to write down something, write down something so that you can have something in your mind, not necessarily related to your own research. It can be something beyond your research, something that write on something that you might interested to do maybe as a research later, other than your thesis, so I hope everyone do have that kind of idea. If you have that, maybe we can share. You can share that thing later. After this, I've discussed a little bit on that, so that I can pick up certain ideas that you have, and maybe we can have a better design of that. And not necessarily research. It can be something that you watched, the movie that you watched last night, or something that you experienced yesterday, and something to do with this COVID-19 pandemic, something to do with the environment, what you see and so on. Because yesterday also I touched about research, actually not necessary just to do the formal research as we do now, as what all the research methodology classes are doing. Semua kelas research method ataupun research methodology menjurus kepada formal research. I call that formal, very formal research. We do formal research, whether it's accounting research, behavioral research, or all sorts of kind of research is very formal, because you need some experiment and so on and so on. You need to do this thing, you need to collect the data, you must know the design of the research, whether it's questionnaire, survey, case study, and so on and so on. Those very formal. But I always believe that whatever that we experience every day, setiap hari kita experience daripada pagi sampai ke malam, when we wake up in the morning until we sleep at night, that is actually also like a research. Because we experience it, and things are different maybe each day. If things are consistent each day, so it's a consistent, it's an observation. It's like observation. You observe the behavior, you observe certain things, you observe this kind of behavior, or people observe you actually. You might do not know that people actually observe you as a sample, digunakan sebagai sample. So itu like a part of qualitative study. Like you throw someone into a jungle and see what the person are going to do to survive, to live, to survive, and for the next few days or maybe 1 week or something. So it's like an experiment. Put someone in the room, how they're going to escape from the room. So we have all those kind. Kita sudah, I think all of you know that ada banyak jenis movie berkenaan dengan benda macam ni, escape room ke, and all those related things. So it's very interesting because that is very informal. If you want to look at that, our experience in life every day is like doing research also. And doing research, we observe. Observation is actually part of a very formal kind of research, especially in qualitative kind of research. But anyhow, so research design here, which I'm going to talk to you, is first half of this morning. Is actually, again, I would like to emphasize that your before we move to research design or data analysis or the methodology that you're going to use, or even you want to set up your problem statement, at the first yesterday in the morning, the first session in the morning, I mentioned about you must know that what paradigm that you are into, which one that you are going. Are you going to quantitative, more to statistics, regression maybe, and the rest that's more on data analysis and the design, or you go to qualitative kind of research or quantitative kind of research, ataupun dua-duanya dikawinkan menjadi mixed method. So you have to know, you yourself tanya diri sendiri, tanya pada research tu, Google ataupun Google research yang kamu minat, topik yang kamu minat, title yang kamu minat, what actually most of the literature use the kind of method that they use, or the design, the paradigm, whether they are in quantitative, qualitative. Mungkin walaupun banyak research tu berkenaan dengan satu topik tu adalah lebih pada quantitative, boleh tak kita lihat pada qualitative? Then different dimension, different perspective. So it's new, innovation. Then you might contribute to the literature. Dan jika hantar kepada jurnal-jurnal selepas ini, then mungkin dia akan diterbitkan disebabkan inovasi. That important, as you know. So research design, I move forward here. I always have this kind of thing in front. The great tragedy of science is the slaying of beautiful hypotheses by the ugly fact. We very much related to data analysis, talking about hypothesis. Jika ada hypothesis, especially dalam quantitative, apa hypothesis? Apa hipotesis kamu? Your hypothesis yang kamu nak buat. So this person says that you must be able to have a hypothesis out from your research framework, from your research objective, from your research question, from your problem statement, and to test that. And then by an ugly fact means that it's ugly, means that you simply do the hypothesis with certain facts that is already happening, right? So this kind of thing, you must be clear what actually you want to do, apa yang kamu nak buat dan semuanya. Alright, I move to the next slide. Let me move to the next slide. So basically, what is research design? So dia ada beberapa jenis kind of research design, different design. Dia design yang berbeza, right? Akan menjadikan research itu berbeza, right? You know, different research have different types of design. Whether you are quantitative, qualitative, so you have to know. Jika kualitatif, ini desainnya. Jika kualitatif, ini desainnya. Jangan bukan kata jangan campur, tapi this is the scientific method. So it's like a blueprint. Dia macam satu planning, perancangan. It's a blueprint for data collection, interpretation, and then to have a results and so on. So the selection of approach depending on few factors, the nature of the problem, the goal of the research, the objective, the resources, the disciplinary and personal references means that, personal preferences. So what you want to do, like I told you, a lot of, because most of you here might be in the jurusan akuntansi, and most of the research in accountancy actually very much quantitative in that sense. Ada juga qualitative, surely ada quantitative and qualitative, but most towards the quantitative side, right? Or I mean, you regress something, you get some results, you interpret it, and so on. So, but you can do also qualitative perspective, right? I'll show some of the example in the next one. The next one when we talk about data analysis. So the choice also depending the choice of the design depending on your choice, pilihan kamu, adakah kamu di dalam bidang kualitatif ataupun kuantitatif ataupun mixed method, right? So the choice of the design, that is very important. So this one, ini pun penting juga ya, biar saya lukis di sini juga. The logic is that to know, if you want to know the hypothesis, to know the phenomenon, and then you must have a very specific technique that you want to use. Depending, this one is more to the data analysis, right? More to the data analysis really. Who specific the technique to be used? Who will be involved? Siapa your participant? Siapa? Who are your sample? How the data going to be gathered? So the design there is important, and how going to be analyzed, right? This one will be the focus for the part number 4 for this for this lecture, right? The second part later. So the technique going to be used, you should know, design it well, who going to be involved. These are the questions, and how are you going to gather the information. Kalau sekarang, I mean zaman pandemic ini, era pandemic ini, most of the information are gathered through online questionnaire. If you do questionnaire. If you do secondary data, then certainly you have to collect it online through the portal and so on, right? The sample, you have to choose. Siapa sample kamu? Kalau kamu buat questionnaire, who is your sample? If you do qualitative, who is your sample? Who you need to interview face to face? But right now, at this moment, dalam zaman pandemic ini juga, face to face is not possible. Tetapi kita boleh interview seseorang tu melalui Zoom ke, Skype ke, and all the other methods. Telephone ke, you know. that doesn't stop the research, right? Pandemic ini, di zaman pandemic ini, don't stop your research just because you say, oh, I cannot meet face to face. But there is other option lain, ada alternative lain, ada solusi yang lain, ada solution yang lain, right? So I just straight away go to this one. This case study are mostly qualitative, mostly, but not necessarily all. Some of the case study can be quantitative, but mostly when you talk about when we talk about qualitative, it might be when you talk about case study, most of the time people will say that it's a qualitative study, right? Depending on what you're looking at the case study. Maybe you look at case study of one company, satu company ke, dua company ke, or certain case scenario, right? So it can be a very qualitative. So the design there is important, and also how you're going to analyze the data, because it's qualitative. So how you're going to analyze the data? That one I will again touch it later, right? So surely if a case study is an example of qualitative study, rather than use a very large sample, because qualitative normally they don't really involve in very large big sample. You don't have to, if it's like a questionnaire or secondary data, maybe you have to get questionnaire, mungkin you have to questionnaire about 500 sample or participant. Yang ini mungkin hanya 5, 2, ataupun just a person, just the case, just a particular case of the study, and it's very involved a very in-depth examination of the single instance or a case, right? So there's numbers of publication on this. Actually, I try to link straight away to publication. There are ada journal yang dedicated hanya untuk publish case study saja. Banyak journal sebenarnya yang publish just case study, especially in Emerald Journal ada banyak, ada case study journal, and very good journal. They are very, very good journal. The case study, their case study, jika case study itu bagus, baik, very good case study, not only you can publish in the journal, but this publisher will take this case study, and dijadikan sebagai case study di dalam pembelajaran in the study, especially in MBA ke, ataupun in maybe other kind of master program, akan dijadikan case study sebagai case study yang bagus, yang baik, right? I can give numbers. There's numbers of example actually. Mungkin some of you might know this one also of the good friend, kawan baik kepada your faculty of Economics and Business, Fakulti Ekonomi dan Business di Universitas 11 Maret is what's her name already? Right. Anyhow, right now I cannot remember her name. She normally do a lot of studies on case study kind of thing. You know, she normally publish a case study, and it's very qualitative kind of case study. And her case study mostly Indonesian family business, right? Indonesia family business. Oh, I remember her name. Her name is Marlin, right? If you can she's a lecturer in NUS, National University of Singapore. Marlin Diamond. Marlin.
Marlin Dieleman.
Yeah, yes.
Marlin Dieleman.
She's she do a lot of case study kind of research, and it's very quantitative. Qualitative. And she focused a lot on Indonesian family business kind of study, or Asian in general. And most of her publication actually published in a very good journal, and in qualitative. I off my video because the line tidak begitu sempurna, tidak begitu baik. So Marlin, you can look at her research if you want to, but mostly on strategy, business strategy, and so on. But very interesting. If you are, and she normally do case study, case by case, a family business in Indonesia and family business in here and there, and I use her case study. Saya gunakan case study dia untuk di dalam kelas saya, di dalam kelas MBA, my MBA class actually. I use her case study. I tell her I use your case study, and she's okay with that because it's a very good information from this as a case study. So not only just a journal publication, it can become a case study by itself, but it's very much to qualitative, right? Lebih pada qualitative. Alright. So yes. Yeah. So then again, this is what happening, especially in the case study kind of research. So there's a lot of types of case study. I will not go into very much detail, depending on what type of case study you are going into, whether it's illustrative case study, to analyze the certain kind of situation, right? Exploratory, implemented a large-scale investigation. It's like you're doing like a CSI. If you watch a CSI drama some time ago, CSI, they do investigation, what happening to find the evidence and to conclude certain things. But this one look at the perspective mungkin untuk satu firm, satu company sahaja. And then there are few types of case study. The other one is critical instance case study. Because this one will be a little bit different depending on what types of critical thing that you want to look at. Maybe you want to look at certain perspective inside the company. Maybe you want to look at the accounting system of the company and so on. Case studies. Then a lot of other case study. I'm sure most of you would know that about this accounting scandal, especially in the world. So there's a lot of case study based on that. Also, becoming a case study in the class, also published as a journal article, right? So it can become one part, salah satu bahagian di dalam thesis kamu, case study. Depending dengan apa objektif thesis kamu, right? Your objective for the research itself. All right. So this one. Extra more what is alternative or different types of case study. Program implemented case studies. Program implemented means that is more on the program implementation, whether the implementation is successful or not. Maybe you want to introduce certain things into the company or the sector, or maybe to certain company, and to see the successfulness or see whether it is actually works or not. So following up this kind of thing, implementation, yeah. Same thing goes to some program effect case study, whether introducing a certain things will have some impact towards the company, or maybe to know whether it's a success or failure. It's almost similar with this one, right? And cumulative is like you aggregate the whole thing on the different time. Maybe you look at the company for numbers of years and cumulate it, and you can write a very good history background on it and how they changed throughout the years, and so on. What are the important things that have changed? Maybe they start off, mungkin dia company itu bermula sebagai salah satu company yang kecil saja, lepas tu dia berkembang menjadi lebih besar dan menjadi multinational company, and they diversified the business, and so on and so on. So it's a lot of types of case study that will be interesting to study on if this is part of your research background that you are interested in. That's the first part, case study. The second one, the research design, very much related to survey. Survey, we can, surely you can do it also in accounting study or any other studies. Do the survey and see what happened, especially maybe at this moment of time, what have changed, have preferences changed, especially, what actually changed, do our preferences change with this COVID-19 pandemic, and so on. This one normally, the survey normally done, especially in the marketing management kind of study, but other studies also can do it, no problem, right? A large sample of respondent, so survey, kan? What questionnaire involve, maybe you can compare Depending on what types of study that you can compare with, I will there's some example also here later. I put it, saya letak merah ni sebab most of the survey research are very much linked to marketing research. Right? For example, like this, marketing research tests consumer reaction of new product, access satisfaction, and then see up the survey and then see what we can do, like satisfaction and or preferences, or maybe to know the reaction of a certain group of people, especially in this pandemic. I have one paper that with my other co-author that published, that berjaya dipublish di dalam impact factor. I think it should be Q1 kot, impact factor, or Q1 or Q2 lah, impact factor. Last year, 2019, I have one paper that used a survey research, very simple. The research yang saya buat tu, research saya dengan kawan-kawan buat tu adalah very simple, a very simple study. Actually, I always want to do that sejak saya berada di University of Cambridge di tahun 2013. Saya nak buat itu, and I asked my student to do it, a very simple study, and after he graduated, we rewrite, kita re-estimate and buat dia lagi lebih menarik, tulis dia dan hantar untuk satu jurnal, the journal called Social Research Indicator, very good journal in Springer. The research is about setiap kali kita mengajar, ini lebih kepada dosen, tetapi student juga, like this one right now. Sekarang ni saya memberi lecture ini, dan di hujung lecture ni maybe the organizers lepas ini akan bukan saja bagi material dengan semua, bukan saja bagi material dia untuk to be distributed for all, tetapi lepas ini mungkin organizer akan suruh kamu isi borang di dalam Google Form ke ataupun apa, isi borang secara online. Adakah lecture ni bagus ke, lecturer tu okay ke, bagi score. You give the score for the lecturer, you evaluate the lecturer. In the end of the day, student normally setiap satu semester kita ada call evaluation form untuk lecturer. Mungkin lepas tu ada certain point yang boleh dibincangkan dengan dosen-dosen itu daripada dekan mungkin, dan semuanya. So sama juga di Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, kita pun ada buat gitu. So I was thinking that why not we put another new variable inside there. Kita letakkan satu new variable, iaitu beauty. Beautiful, cantik. Adakah cantik? Adakah kenapa student datang kelas, especially face to face? Kenapa student datang kelas? Adakah disebabkan oleh knowledge professor tu, ataupun disebabkan sebab professor tu cantik, menarik? Adakah physical attraction yang attract the people to come to class, or because of the knowledge attraction, or because they want to graduate, or because some other factors? So we look at that, dan kita buat survey research, dan survey itu kita buat di Universiti Malaysia Sarawak. The paper is about pelajar evaluate lecturer di Universiti Malaysia Sarawak. So kita tambahkan satu variable. Evaluation tu memang ada selalu, tetapi tidak ada evaluation tentang beauty. So kita letak beauty dan ada psychological kind of variable inside there. So kita letak variable tu di dalam tu, dan kita buat research tu, kutip data secara survey. Waktu itu kita boleh buat face to face. Student saya buat face to face, bukan secara online data tu, secara face to face survey. Dan kita dapati bahawa beauty does matter. Maksudnya beauty ada mempengaruhi kehadiran ataupun mempengaruhi student to come to the class. So that's a very interesting research. And we write it. Very local one is a case study of Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, and dipublished the international journal, a big journal. So I just give one example. Yang saya, ini adalah daripada experience saya. Dan kita menggunakan analisis SEM, Structural Equation Modeling, menggunakan software Smart PLS dan semuanya. Itu adalah analisis, the analisa part, for more to the analysis part. And we get the result. My student get the result, and we improve the writing, we rewrite, kita hantar pada journal tu. Tetapi journal tu kita hantar review 3 kali. 3 kali review. Review pertama, 2 report major. Kita improve, hantar balik revision, revision. Balik kali kedua, major lagi. 2 lagi report. 2 new report. So 4 reports already. 2 first report, 2 second report. Lepas tu kali ketiga, editor kata, okay, 1 saja report tapi minor. Dan lepas itu baru accept. Tapi best. Tapi this is a good experience. Anyhow, I'm just telling you to share with everyone. So survey research design depending on what you want to do. It can be cross section. Maksudnya most of the time we do this kind of research. If those involved in marketing or survey, they do at one point of time cross section. Maksudnya hanya pada masa itu sahaja. Cross section, dia bukan secara longitude, it's just cross section. Cross section, most of the time it involves like this, in a group maybe, or focus group, or the university or the sample itself. This one, number 2 here, contextual design, depending on the sample case within particular group of context to describe certain evidence or characteristic of the context. So this one very specific, right? This one very specific punya, very specific kind of research design. Most of the time we do this, right? Most of the time, okay. Most of the time we do this, yeah. So and then the next one on have one kind of methodology method called social research design. Interesting to explore. Saya berapa I never but boleh explore how does people react, especially not just in social media but overall socially in terms of face to face. So sorry, I just line ini tidak stable. Saya cuba untuk mencari alternatif. Line tidak stable. So sorry. Ini kadang-kadang berlaku di mana saja. Reality. Saya berdi. Okay.
Oke, sambil menunggu Dr. Evans. Ya, tadi penjelasannya menarik sekali ya, bahwa penelitian yang menggunakan konteks lokal di universitas masing-masing itu bahkan bisa publikasi di jurnal di Scopus Geo 1. Nah, tapi dengan catatan ya bahwa harus punya ide yang menarik. Ide itu yang membuat editor mau untuk menerima. Dan konteks yang ditunjukkan oleh Dr. Evan tadi sangat menarik ya. Apakah ada faktor beauty nggak gitu kan? Ada faktor beauty nggak yang membuat mahasiswa mau untuk masuk ke kelas? Ya. Jadi beauty di sini mungkin termasuk cantik dan ganteng gitu ya. Jadi itu hal itu yang bisa, apakah ada dampaknya tidak? Jadi ternyata untuk case study seperti ini, ya bisa juga publikasi di jurnal yang bagus, ya. Anda tidak perlu takut, ya. Tapi memang seperti kata Dr. Evan tadi, kita harus tahu kita akan menggunakan metode yang mana, apakah case study, ya, kemudian apakah survei yang sudah dijelaskan Dr. Evan, atau archival, nanti akan dijelaskan mungkin ya. Nah, dan case study sekali lagi, banyak juga jurnal yang mempublikasikan khusus untuk case study itu. Ya. Di Emerald banyak memang ya. Dan contoh yang diberikan oleh Dr. Evan tadi adalah Dr. Malin Dieleman. Ya. Dan dia memang banyak melakukan penelitian mengenai family firm. Sangat menarik sebenarnya. Ya, misalnya bagaimanakah proses peralihan dari pendiri kepada generasi berikutnya. Ya. Nah, generasi berikutnya atau misalnya bagaimanakah proses si keluarga menyerahkan tampuk pimpinan kepada non-family member sebagai CEO misalnya. Itu sangat menarik. Dan kalau seperti itu, pasti datanya cuma sedikit. Ya, nggak akan mungkin ribuan gitu kan. Datanya mungkin cuma satu perusahaan atau perusahaan aja yang diubek-ubek gitu kan, yang diubek-ubek ya, ditanyain ya. Gitu. Ya, sambil menunggu Dr. Evan ya. Itu yang harus kita perhatikan. Ya, ternyata penelitian itu juga menarik. Cuma yang hati-hati juga bahwa penelitian case study itu tidak berarti Anda sekedar melaporkan loh ya. Ya. Misalnya Anda melaporkan perusahaan ini terdiri dari ini, kemudian apa kondisi keuangannya seperti ini ya jangan. Tetapi kalau ada pepatah kan ada udang di balik batu kan, atau ada batu di balik udang. Nah yang di balik itulah yang akan kita bahas nanti kan. Kalau ada udang di balik batu ya udangnya itu yang harus yang didetil gitu kan. Bagaimanakah misalnya ya si pendiri itu akan menyerahkan tampuk pimpinan kepada generasi berikutnya. Alasan apa yang akan membuat dia memilih anaknya atau siapa gitu ya. Apa yang utamanya? Nah, kemudian ya akan juga sangat menarik apabila nanti family itu menyerahkan kepada orang luar. Apa alasannya itu kan? Kok mereka mau membagikan apa memberikan hak untuk mengemudikan perusahaan keluarga kepada orang luar ya. Itu contoh dari case tadi. Mungkin nanti Anda bisa menerapkan pada case tertentu misalnya. Pada suatu perusahaan yang memang kental budaya Jawanya, ya, atau budaya Cina, atau budaya Batak misalnya, atau budaya Sunda, bagaimanakah itu terjadi gitu kan. Nah, itu contoh dari case study itu. Tapi memang kalau case study itu yang harus Anda perhatikan, bahwa Anda harus mempunyai akses nanti yang baik. Ya. Tidak mungkin Anda tidak punya akses bisa melakukan case study yang bagus ya. Gitu ya. Jadi akses sangat penting. Nah, akses itu terserah dapat dari mana ya, nggak, kita akan memasalahkan ya. Apakah Anda kenal sama yang pemiliknya, silakan ya. Atau Anda kenal kepada orang di dalam, silakan. Yang penting Anda punya akses dan Anda bisa untuk melakukan kajian di situ. Nah, case study ini ya memang sekali lagi sepertinya enak ya, wah cuma wawancara saja kan. Ya. Tetapi hati-hati. Nah, untuk melakukan wawancara yang baik, berarti Anda juga harus menguasai topik itu. Ya. Jangan Anda wawancara itu nanti sekedar ngobrol biasa, jangan. Anda sudah punya garis besar yang akan ditanyakan. Ya memang ada wawancara yang terstruktur dan non-terstruktur ya. Tetapi kalau menurut saya, walaupun itu non-terstruktur, Anda punya garis-garis besar yang mau ditanyakan. Sehingga pembicara itu nggak ngalor ngidul. Nggak ngalor ngidul. Jadi jelas apa yang akan mau dibahas ya. Pergantian misalnya, oh apa alasannya gitu kan. Mengapa toh memberikan, kapan si pemilik atau si pendiri itu akan memberikan tongkat pimpinan itu kepada generasi berikutnya ya. Kemudian bagaimana caranya pimpinan tersebut akan menjaga supaya si generasi berikutnya akan amanah dalam menjaga perusahaan tersebut, akan menjalankan perusahaan tersebut. Itu yang penting yang harus Anda perhatikan. Itu contoh dari case tadi. Di kita memang masih jarang case tadi ya. Ya, case tadi itu. Tetapi seperti yang dikatakan oleh Pak Evan tadi, ternyata kan chance, probabilitas bagi kita untuk mempublikasikan paper dengan menggunakan case study ya sangat besar. Jadi misalnya misalnya nanti itu kan Pak Dalang itu punya kenalan itu kan, seorang pengusaha, ya. Kemudian pengusaha tersebut akan turun, artinya akan turun dalam tanda kutip ya, seperti kalau raja itu kan turun tahta misalnya kan. Nah, apa tuh alasannya turun tahta tersebut ya? Ya kalau misalnya nanti Pak Warseno punya akses, ditanyain aja, dibuat, diceritakan ya. Apalagi misalnya si pemilik perusahaan itu sangat memegang kuat budaya Jawa misalnya. Oh, menarik banget itu. Ya, sangat menarik nanti bagaimana? Bagaimana kaitannya dalam hal ini gitu kan? Bagaimanakah dia memilih penggantinya ya? Apakah dia memang stick pada pengganti tersebut ya? Dan di perusahaan keluarga itu kan banyak sekali ya, artinya ada yang positif, ada yang membuat apa ya, pesan positif atau negatif ya. Nah, apakah baik misalnya tampuk kekuasaan itu dialihkan langsung kepada generasi berikutnya ya, atau justru dibuat terbuka aja untuk umum. Nah, kasus Indonesia yang menarik misalnya contoh adalah Bu Mulyati Sudibyo itu perusahaan apa itu, Pak? Perusahaan apa tuh Mulyati Sudibyo itu? Saya lupa itu. Perusahaan kecantikan tuh kan? Jamu apa? Sari Ayu atau Mustika Ratu ya, Pak ya?
Mustika Ratu.
Nah, Mustika Ratu. Mustika Ratu kan beliau itu, dan itu beliau hebat loh ya. Dia dokter loh ya. Bu Mulyati Sudibyo itu, dokter itu. Dan dia penelitiannya tentang perusahaan keluarga di UI. Ya. Dan akhirnya kan Bu Mulyati step down, turun, digantikan oleh anaknya kan, Mbak ya. Nah, mungkin nanti kalau punya akses, apa tuh alasan memilih anaknya, bagaimanakah proses itu, ya. Bagaimanakah menjaga perusahaan itu percaya bahwa anaknya juga akan mampu mengelola perusahaan sama baiknya dengan si generasi pertama. Itu contohnya. Ya. Contoh penelitian yang mungkin nasional ya, itu kan udah besar. Tapi misalnya Anda punya teman ya yang punya perusahaan dalam konteks regional, tanyakan aja ya. Bagaimanakah perusahaan keluarga dalam menjalankan corporate governance-nya ya. Itu kan merupakan salah satu bidang yang bisa kita teliti. Ya. Itu case study. Ya. Ada buku bagus yang dibuat oleh Robert Yin ya kalau nggak salah tentang case study ya. Nah, jadi supaya tidak salah kaprah nanti. Akan sering sekali dibenturkan antara mana yang lebih baik antara kuantitatif atau kualitatif. Ya itu sama baiknya kok. Ya. Itu tergantung pada tujuan penelitian Anda. Tujuan penelitian nanti apakah bisa dijawab menggunakan metode kuantitatif atau kualitatif. Ya. Kalau harus menggunakan kualitatif, silahkan. Ya. Jadi saya katakan itu ada satu teman saya dulu S3 di Malaysia. Itu dia meneliti tentang tentang bank muamalah sih salah saya, tapi saya lupa tentang apa ya itu ya dirinya. Yang dijadikan respondennya ya direksinya. Nah, berarti kan kalau dengan direksi wawancaranya mendalam tapi nggak akan sering kan? Nggak akan mungkin sering. Waktu mereka kan pasti akan berharga banget ya. Ya. Jadi tanda kutip, kok lebih gampang Pak kalau kualitatif cuma wawancara sekali, 2 kali, 3 kali bisa buat masalahnya itu kan menyusun wawancara yang baik, memperoleh akses ke situ kan nggak mudah. Kemudian nanti pada saat Anda harus menginterpretasikan wawancara kan tidak semudah itu kan. Nah, oke, Dr. Evan, it's yours.
So sorry for the loss. Yeah,
It's okay,
it's
Dr.
a
Evan.
problem.
No.
Yeah, I try to connect to other network, but it seems doesn't work. Laptop maybe. Right. So so sorry. Just now we are somewhere here. I think we're somewhere here. Yeah, we're somewhere here only. Okay. What I mentioned just now, especially on the social media design, right? Especially on the social, the social side of the research, and then we try to look at whether whether this social media, the social network design for the survey will be another types of survey kind of a research design, right? This social network, right? To look at some other places, people, organization, country, maybe, and doing a survey also, right? Okay. The next one will be this one will be you look at the observe at the other scenario at the bigger at the two different sample types of time, you know, same population from the same from the general population, same individual sample, tetapi kamu melihat dia kepada dua ataupun more in time. That's why it's called longitudinal kind of design. So this one is like you observe. Mungkin pada tahun ini dia begitu, bukan tahun nak, maybe this month and next month. You see what's the difference. It's like observation, tetapi dia lebih pada survey. Sebelum selepas mungkin. You can do it before and after the kind of scenario and so on. And this one is more to trend, whether you want to see what type of trend right now, what types of things have changed. Adakah mungkin adakah certain phenomenon happens, whether it's still a trend right now for especially for survey kind of design. This one cohort depending. You have a cohort. Maksudnya mungkin kamu lihat pada golongan millennial saja, ataupun golongan yang lebih dewasa, ataupun golongan yang lebih muda daripada millennial. So it depends on what types of study and survey that you are focusing on the cohort. And panel certainly involving time factor. Dia macam longitude, tetapi dia lebih lama lagi. Same respondent survey and survey again. Right? Mungkin kita tengok pada satu jangka masa mungkin 5 years or maybe 3 years to see the impact, to see certain impact, to see whether this kind of impact or this kind of a scenario will still persist maybe 5 years down the road, right? For example, maybe this kind of study, this kind of panel study or longitude kind of study, you can look at what's happening right now, especially if you're already coming in the vaccine for COVID-19. We can see you might be able to see the impact towards a much more longer period of time, what will happen. So you observe that particular sample, and then to see a few years down the road what is going to happen, and to see how's going to be the impact. So that's one thing you can see, but from the different, it can be different perspective. Tidak semestinya dari perspektif medical sahaja, dia boleh daripada business dan akuntansi dan semua jenis economics ke studies, social studies and so on. Right? The survey certainly have advantage and disadvantage. Is flexible, and you can see talks about behavior, right? You can study attitude, value, belief, behavior, and so on. You can use most of the time, if you do survey, most of the time you will look into statistical method, except that mungkin survey to if you do qualitative, but most of the time we will do quantitative, right? Easy to administer. And then data collection depending on what types of thing. So this one is the design is important, right? And then this one, the coding, then you can analyze it and so on. So surely you have disadvantages, maybe depending on sometimes the participant might not answer correctly. So this one, not just the disadvantages, but mungkin daripada itulah sebabnya sometimes we send questionnaire to 500 orang, tetapi mungkin hanya 300 yang menjawab. Daripada 300 tu mungkin hanya 200 yang boleh dipakai the survey. The rest of it mungkin the answers or you want to or not complete answer ke, not honest ke, and so on and so on and so on, everything. So depending on what is happening. Yeah? So sometimes also it says that here it's not appropriate to study a complex social phenomenon, right? Because you do not look at, especially, but then again, if the study is being repeated diulangi lagi untuk sampel yang sama. Macam contohnya ini, kita buat panel study ataupun longitude kind of study, then it might be more flexible in that sense. If not, survey normally hanya untuk satu period of time, a cross section. That's it. Finish. Buat satu sekali dan habis begitu sahaja. Kita survey sekali sahaja. Kita tak survey what happened 1 year after that, what happened 2 years after that, what happened 6 months after that, 1 month after that. Right? So, and then it can have the kind of a lot of question also there, you know, on the low validity. Right? That's why there's a lot of improvement, especially in the measurement and the items and the estimation and the methodology. Improvement is more to data analysis, right? Although it might be often choose for random sample, the respondent usually are selected non-probability sample. So it depending. So you say it's random, mungkin tidak begitu random daripada satu cohort, daripada satu sample dan so on. So again, depending on the type of survey that you are doing. The method, ini lebih pada method sudah. The method that involve a lot of way of doing survey, through telephone, through in-home survey, datang ke rumah, right? You know, datang ke rumah, survey dan so on, interview, front door, yeah, it can be very high cost. Dia dibuat, yang ini lebih kepada survey untuk negara mungkin. Yeah, sebelum ini, that I'm sure every country do that. Like our like Malaysia also, we have what we call is banci, or the is called in Malaysia banci. Where banci penduduk, maksudnya we want to know how many living in that particular household, how much they earn, how much, and all those question. Ada banyak soalan tu. Tapi untuk tahun ini, this banci actually we do it online. So it's like personal in-home survey. Tapi kita buat secara online. Maksudnya semua orang akan menjawab secara online. So itu sesuatu yang perubahan yang berlaku. Right? Dan questionnaire selalunya mail, email and so on. Right? Online survey sekarang menggunakan banyak ini. Right? There's always a limitation of online survey. Limitation, you use Google Form, Survey Monkey, and a lot more other things that you use. Right? Yang ini tadi saya sudah cerita sikit, just a repeated one. Personal in-home survey, personal mall survey. This one di mall, kadang-kadang di mall, dan ada yang menanya soalan dan semua isi borang ini dan semuanya. Itu cara-cara untuk mendapatkan data daripada respondent. Salah satu lagi, the other types of research design is experiment. Eksperimen ini lebih kepada kuantitatif, lebih kepada kuantitatif. So ataupun nama lainnya eksperimen, tapi dia lebih kepada kuantitatif di dalam nota ni, in these notes, lebih kepada kuantitatif, experimental mungkin. Banyak digunakan juga dalam research akuntansi dan semua jenis research juga. Lebih, dan kita ada hipotesis untuk kita testing untuk eksperimen itu, and so on. So depending what type of experiment you are doing. Eksperimen ini bukannya eksperimen kalau di dalam bidang kita, di dalam bidang ekonomi dan bisnis dan akuntansi related semua. Dia bukan eksperimen macam di lab, macam di makmal, tidak perlu memotong tikus ke ataupun apa-apa, right? Or anything else. It's this kind of experiment. The experiment, the method, observation, and then you see the phenomenon and see what happened. You have some hypothesis to answer. All right. The one very close related to experiment is sometimes we want to test the causal relationship, penyebab, right? The causal relationship, and then is very much related to experiment. So di dalam eksperimen tu, most of the time, selalunya kita ada independent variable dan dependent variable. For example, ada independent dan dependent. Ini macam ujian, macam testing, testing the you want to know the hypothesis ini ke hypothesis itu biasanya berlaku di dalam kebanyakan research yang kita buat. Let me off this thing first. Sorry. Let me off my. Sorry for that. Right. So it depending dia ada independent variable dan dependent variable. For example, semuanya variable di dalam sini. Let's say kita nak melihat pada satu phenomenon, whether advertising expenditure, location, price, product. This one very much related to maybe marketing research, management research. Whether it's going to affect the firm satisfaction, to measure satisfaction, to measure attitude towards buying certain things, to measure attitude, the changing of purchasing, especially after the COVID-19, on the COVID-19 phenomenon right now. Mungkin sekarang buying behavior sekarang mungkin sudah berubah, berbeza because right now we buy a lot of things online. Sebelum ni mungkin online business tidak begitu meningkat, tapi sekarang di era pandemik ni lebih banyak orang beli online daripada pergi ke mall dan beli di mall. So kebanyakannya kepada online. So changes in terms of priority and attitude and because of this pandemic. For example, itu boleh dilihat dari satu from one perspective, right? And also other things, how we manage, how the firm manage right now is different. You know, a lot now. Mungkin banyak pekerja sekarang bekerja dari rumah, working from home is an option. So things have changed, and we want to see how it's going to impact the performance of the firm. Mungkin itu salah satu topik boleh dibuat, right? And then this one, the experimental design lebih kepada the setting, mungkin lebih kepada the group of people, the control group ke, ataupun you have a certain particular group that you want to do, especially this one is like also experiment. Dia mungkin lebih kepada statistical analysis, right? You can do the experiment based on survey, right? The survey itu salah satu method yang boleh digunakan untuk eksperimen, dan mungkin ada collecting data di tempat lain daripada secondary data, experimental or certain things that happens. And then in the experiment, normally because it's called experiment, so you need to do pre-test, post-test, and so on. The pre-test is important for numbers of research. They want to know if you have done the question. Also happens, also very important for questionnaire. Sudah dapat questionnaire-nya, kita nak cuba dulu. We have to try the questionnaire. So we try on whether this questionnaire, whether the question is understandable, whether people can answer it, and so on, right? And this one also important for the kind of experimental kind of research, right? Experimental for certain scenario, right? Also, experimental mungkin boleh di-extend kepada not just experiment in the sense that kita survey, lepas tu kita dapat keputusan, kita buat hipotesis dan semuanya. Tapi mungkin juga experimental tu boleh kepada sesuatu yang belum berlaku lagi. So you experiment it and you're going to see what's going to happen in the future, right? Or you can do some randomized trial experiment, secara random trial experiment, right? Boleh dibuat juga, dan sebabnya saya melihat tu research design tu, ataupun mungkin nanti saya akan ceritakan juga di dalam data analisis. All of you can have a look. Dia ada satu namakan randomized trial research or randomized kind of experiment yang dibuat oleh pemenang Nobel Prize tahun 2019, right? They do experimental in economics. They do experimental, tapi dia boleh dikembangkan di mana-mana bidang, especially in especially di dalam bidang kita ekonomi dan bisnes. Dan di fakulti ekonomi dan bisnes punya research can do experimental. We want to know at first begini keadaannya, pre-test. Lepas tu when you do the real test and then post-test, what will happen? So it's like an experiment. Sebelum, selepas, dan masa. So it's a very interesting kind of thing to do, right? You want to know more, you can always go and search the Nobel Prize winner of 2019 yang dimenangi oleh one is lady, the other one is a guy. So dua orangnya, but they do randomized trial, especially on they do a lot of research on related to medical related. They want to test certain things, so social incidents, especially on in and related to economic growth, right? But you can look at that if you want to. I can share later if you want. Experiment kita boleh buat. So surely we need to test validity, internal, external, right? Experiment is valid if like this, and to reflect the real world. External and internal validity, which is very important. All right. Okay. So next slide. Let me move to the next slide. Type of experiment. It can be laboratory. You can have laboratory where you test a certain product maybe, or you test certain things inside the lab and so on. This might be more general to the kind of science kind of research, but we can do it also, not necessary in the lab, but most of the time we do it at the field. Means that kita buat di lapangan. We go to the ground and see what happened, to see maybe the rural, for example, rural transformation. Mungkin the government help in terms of giving subsidy. Lepas tu, you want to know how the villager, how the rural area use the subsidy, and what happened before the subsidy, before giving money, after giving the money, and what business they are doing, or maybe what types of system that they're involved in, especially maybe in agriculture ke, ataupun tourism and so on. So it can go down the field, but it might take time to see this thing to happen, because this is kind of a like experimental, not only just in marketing, but in other field also, right? Same thing in other field. And this one just additional thing. If normally we do experimental and then we extend that to some statistical analysis, then we involve some general statistical analysis like correlation, regression. Ini standard yang boleh dimasukkan di dalam method. Tapi this is more to methodology, but at least you know di dalam design kamu, research design, what you want to do. Apa jenis analisis yang paling sesuai. Analisa yang paling sesuai. This is just example of correlation. Apa maksud correlation? And this is something we can test. Correlation does not imply causation. Causation tadi causal kind of experiment. You want to know something. For example, like this. Teenage girl eats a lot of chocolate. This is just giving example. Teenage girl are most likely have an acne. Acne maksudnya pimples. Therefore, chocolate cause acne. Right? Not necessary. Gun ownership is correlated with crime. Therefore, gun ownership leads to crime. Also not necessary. You have to test. You have to test that hypothesis. Betul tak ini hypothesis ini? Boleh uji hypothesis ini. Uji hypothesis ini. Adakah ini yang berlaku? On how maybe just an example. Just an example. Okay. Yeah. We know that also. There's people might say that smoking might cause cancer, but smoking you have to test that smoking really cause cancer. or maybe the second person who get the smoke actually got the cancer, not the one who's smoking. So that's another perspective of correlation does not necessarily cause causation. You can test that hypothesis, test the causality, then you will know what is happening with certain. And regression is the famous one that we do. Normally, is if you do quantitative, not quantitative data analysis. The regression can involve in the OLS least square, the ordinary least square, or maybe the structural equation modeling, maybe SEM, or all the other kind of regression. Is actually regression in general. In general is regression. So they mungkin involve secondary data, they mungkin involve primary data prima, data secondary on regression, but it's more to quantitative. This is quantitative. This one also quantitative, right? This one, as I told you just now, statistical tests establish that the more a person smokes, the greater probability developing lung cancer. But it does not prove that smoking causes lung cancer. You only can prove it through medical investigation, not through our study. If you are a medical doctor, medical research, then it says that the more you smoke, the probability of causing it. So there's always a scenario of like this. Okay, you have to know the limitation of regression, and certainly related to correlation. And I think this is one of the last slides. I think, yeah, one of the last slides for this first part. Sorry for the delay. I can continue on. Saya boleh teruskan dengan second part. Yeah, any question you can ask me. This one, you can go to this homepage. Tapi saya akan, ini materialnya sudah diberi kepada the organizer. You can go to this homepage. They have a very interesting research methodology guide. Go to this homepage. This is from a university, Illinois State University. Pergi pada homepage ini, cari ini semua. Di mana kamu? Which part are you involving it? Ini lebih kepada ada juga qualitative dan quantitative also. Lebih, if you see this bibliometric case study, content analysis, documentary, ethnography, focus group, grounded theory, autobiography, longitudinal observation, qualitative. This can be very qualitative and quantitative also. But look at that, it's free. Boleh baca. Boleh baca di sana dan melihat mana satu jenis, which part of methodology, which part of research design that you want, yang kamu minat, yang kamu mungkin yang sesuai dengan your objective for the study, sesuai dengan thesis kamu dan semuanya. Lihat pada ini satu yang free ya. It's a lot university have this, tapi saya ternampak ini especially last few days when I do this, when I improve these slides, I saw this thing and I found it very interesting, right? Especially because I'm looking, saya sebenarnya mencari ini bibliometrics. Maybe some of you might not familiar with the word bibliometrics. Dia adalah analisa, membuat analisis terhadap, especially on your literature review. Bibliometrics. There's a lot of bibliometrics kind of research published in very good journal. Di dalam chapter ataupun chapter literature review. Right? This one I will share more later. Okay. So ini bahagian pertama. So I think saya berhenti dulu bahagian ini. Saya akan continue bahagian kedua. Ada soalan? I'm sure there's a lot of question.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Ivan. Ada pertanyaan?
Ya. Di dalam chat box ada ya?
Ya, dalam chat box ada. Saya baca satu. Oke. Ada satu yang bertanya, Dr. Ivan, terkait regarding your paper. Is it possible to share your paper that on beauty thing? Yeah. There's one
Boleh.
student asked for that. Maybe you can
Boleh.
share
Ya,
to us regarding that paper.
saya kena cari dulu.
Thank you, Dr. Evan.
Ya, no problem.
Ini ada satu pertanyaan, Dr. Evan. Bagaimana pendapat Bapak dengan penggunaan data dalam riset kuantitatif, yaitu antara data primer yang menggunakan persepsi dan data sekunder yang menggunakan pengukuran rasio. Mana yang lebih baik? Mana yang lebih baik antara data primer dan data sekunder regarding quantitative method, Dr. Evan? Itu yang pertama. Ya.
Okay. Yang ini daripada saya, I think saya pun dah nampak dalam I saw in the chat box here also. Dia adalah Siska. Okay, thank you for terima kasih pada soalan ini. So saya cuba melihat. Mungkin saya perlu tanya kembali kepada Siska ini, ialah what is your research topic about? I mean your topic research kamu, then daripada topik research kamu akan tahu yang mana lebih sesuai ataupun penggunaan data dalam research kuantitatif. Adakah menggunakan premier ataupun menggunakan data
Sekunder.
data sekunder, premier atau data sekunder. Dia depending dengan apa research yang kamu buat. Right? Satu, itu kamu perlu tahu. Yang keduanya ialah lihatlah pada go and search ataupun baca. I'm sure you have read your own literature review. Melihat pada literature review, adakah literature tu lebih kepada premier ataupun lebih kepada sekunder. Dan daripada itu you can make your own decision. So research jenis yang kamu involve ni lebih kepada sekunder ataupun lebih kepada premier. Right? Jika kamu buat premier seperti yang kamu your question here, di mana pengukuran persepsi itu hanya kepada setuju dan tidak setuju, dan sekunder itu lebih kepada ratio, dan mungkin kamu perlu ada pengukuran yang lain, sebab saya rasa setuju tidak bersetuju mungkin dia tidak begitu tepat lah dalam. Itu pendapat saya lah. That's what I think. So mungkin dia ada pengukuran persepsi yang lain daripada just hanya setuju dan tidak bersetuju. Saya tahu setuju dan tidak bersetuju itu saja persepsi, tetapi mungkin perlu ada dokongan ataupun sokongan lain daripada artikel ke, daripada mana-mana yang menggunakan metod ataupun menggunakan pengukuran yang sama. Dan jurnal-jurnal ini harusnya jurnal-jurnal yang bereputasi, yang diindeks, bukan jurnal-jurnal yang hanya dipublish dia seharusnya jurnal-jurnal yang agak besar dan semua, I mean international journal, good journal, supaya apa yang kamu buat adalah tepat, adalah betul. Okay, itu pendapat saya. Terima kasih Siska.
Yeah.
Kita move next one.
Yeah. Next one, Dr. Evan, regarding this interesting questions. My name is Anissa Koirina. Would like to ask regarding a qualitative research, because most of my lecturer always seem to suggest us to do a quantitative research. Is it true that qualitative research is more difficult to be done than quantitative one? Are there any tips for beginner like me to be able to conduct a good and accurate qualitative research, as I'm new at this kind of research activities? Thank you, Envel. That's an interesting question.
Surely it's a very interesting question, Anissa. Thank you for the question. It's a very valid question, because I also touch on qualitative here, because we have to know that research bukan sahaja kuantitatif, juga ada kualitatif, dan juga ada dua-duanya sekali dikawinkan, yang saya katakan dikawinkan. So Saya pun research saya research saya kebanyakan ataupun research bukan kebanyakan lah. Research saya 99% research saya yang dipublish adalah kuantitatif, bukan kualitatif. 1% saja kualitatif sebab tahun ini saya ada satu paper, saya ada satu publication menggunakan kualitatif, menggunakan method kualitatif dipublish di one of the journal, tapi dia berkaitan dengan education. Interesting, education. One of the student, one of the grant that we get from the university related to sekolah lah, school, school related. So, but we do qualitative research. So, I'm still very new also. Saya masih belajar juga qualitative to explore, but a lot of things to explore in qualitative. Quantitative is where you collect your data through survey, questionnaire. I'm sure you know that I already explained just now. Is it true that it's more difficult to conduct qualitative than quantitative? If you ask me personally, I would say that yes, qualitative might be more difficult than quantitative. Tetapi it depends on what you are dealing with. Certain things quantitative cannot answer. That's why people go to qualitative. But you have to know that qualitative, you must have very strong background, very strong theory behind. They normally maybe they use the grounded theory or related to that, or they have the kind of different types of scenario. That's why I asked you to explore tadi. Ada satu homepage tu, you can explore there. There's a grounded theory there. There's the kind of case study that looks into very qualitative. And also read paper by Marlene Dillman. She do a lot of qualitative study, especially on firm company. So if you want to do a very good qualitative study, start of that. And ada banyak software menggunakan yang analisis kualitatif, contoh macam NVivo, contoh macam Qualcomm, very interesting. Lately yang terbaru ni, saya juga melihat pada bibliometrics. Bibliometrics dia boleh kepada kualitatif dan boleh kepada kuantitatif, dan certain kualitatif juga melihat kepada content analysis. Not only just content analysis, ada juga kualitatif melihat kepada speech, tone, speech. Dia ada software yang boleh melihat pada mungkin apa yang saya kata sekarang, dan dia boleh detect, dan they can detect, they can analyze and see what is whether the person is maybe angry ke, pessimistic ke, optimistic ke, semua itu boleh dibuat. So very interesting in qualitative sebab it's very open-ended. Tetapi you must know your basic first. You must know what to do. Memang banyak researcher, mungkin termasuk kepada lecturer kamu di fakulti lebih pada kuantitatif. Saya juga lebih pada kuantitatif. But qualitative is something good to explore. Saya dengan student saya pun ada explore that, tapi tidak begitu banyak. Kita cuba-cuba sahaja, masih dalam tempoh percubaan. I share one of my research that we are doing. Kita ada buat sesuatu. I have one research grant related to crime and economic growth. Crime and economic growth, which is so we look at quantitative no problem. Kita sudah publish beberapa artikel on the quantitative side. Now we want to look at qualitative. Kita nak masuk dalam penjara, inside the jail. I mean, not to go in the jail. Go inside this prison to interview these inmates, to interview these people yang buat salah, yang mungkin ada kes bunuh ke, kes mencuri ke, merompak ke, all those cases. We have to sit down with them, interview them, and ask them why they commit crime from that perspective, qualitative perspective, rather than quantitative perspective. But kita belum lagi sempat buat. dan sepatutnya buat di tahun ini, tetapi sampai hari ini tidak boleh lagi masuk sebab COVID. So we cannot do that now. We hope when the things getting better, mungkin kita boleh masuk dan try to interview and look at qualitative perspective. So itu salah satu contoh. Tapi it depends on what you want to do. I'll give more example later. Nanti saya akan bagi ada qualitative study yang boleh dibuat dari segi akuntansi, from accountancy point of view, right? Maybe yeah, I think that's all from me, Anissa. Thank you very much. Ada lagi question? There's one question.
The last question, Dr. Ivan. This is also interesting. Bahwa kombinasi or say that kawinan antara quantitative and qualitative, it should be called as a mixed method. Tapi bagaimana jika metode kualitatif hanya digunakan sebagai pendukung atau penguat dalam menggali suatu variabel pada penelitian kuantitatif? Apakah bisa disebut mixed method juga itu? So it means that if we use qualitative as the support for our quantitative method, is it also called as a mixed method?
The answer for this one is very straightforward. The answer for me, I would see that as a mixed method. Tetapi, but you must look at your objective of your study, of your research. Apa objektif kamu? When you say mendukung sebagai penguat ataupun pendukung dalam menggali satu variable dalam penelitian kuantitatif. So maksudnya you already have your quantitative result, keputusan result, then you want to look at the qualitative perspective mungkin sebab kamu nak menguatkan sesuatu hipotesis, sesuatu evidence. Boleh. Dan dia jika begitu saya melihat dia sebagai is a mixed method. Dia boleh diterbalikkan juga, not necessarily you have quantitative, lepas tu kamu guna qualitative untuk penguat. Dia boleh the other way around. You have you already have your qualitative result, tetapi kamu nak melihat dari segi kuantitatif juga untuk prove your point, untuk buktikan itu yang berlaku dari segi hipotesis. Sebab dalam kualitatif tidak ada hipotesis. Dia hanya melihat pada senario tu, the content itself and so on. Melihat pada tema, theme, more on the theme side. So boleh, kedua-duanya boleh berlaku dari segi itu. Sebab dan this one I want to again share. Just now the research that I told you about my student research. We have done the part of quantitative. Now we want to do qualitative. The qualitative actually kita nak buat sebagai penguat, sebagai pendukung terhadap kuantitatif itu tadi. Dan we call that also mixed method. In my perspective, that is mixed method. Satu lagi research daripada pelajar, my student, another research is on underground economy. Economy underground ataupun underground economy. How is the underground economy focus on kita fokus kepada apa sektor tu. We call it underground economy. For example, the business of beer, liquor, minuman keras dengan salah satu lagi cigarette. Yang taxnya tidak dibayar, cukai, pajak tidak dibayar. Kita melihat pada itu, di mana bisnesnya yang
interesting.
Very interesting study. Data memang tidak ada, sebab siapa nak bagi tahu data?
Of course.
So we can do survey, tetapi siapa nak jawab questionnaire ni?
Takut dia betul.
Takut betul dia nak cakap bisnes dia tidak bayar pajak. Dan so one thing that we do, one thing that I ask the student to do is look at different perspective. Maybe we observation and other content analysis. Daripada formal, daripada bank, daripada Department of Statistik, melihat pada pajak, melihat pada dan semuanya. So then Quantitative tu sebagai penguat. Quantitative sebagai penguat, tapi qualitative tu is the main one. So itu dua perspektifnya. I think I would itu saja yang boleh saya bagi untuk masa ini. Ada lagi soalan lain?
Okay, Dr. Ivan, I think it's already time is up for the first session.
Yes,
yes. Do you want to take a break or just go for the next session, Dr. Ivan?
Can I take a few minute break? I want to go to toilet for a while.
Okay, of course. Please, Dr. Ivan. Okay, terima kasih. Please.
Yeah. I will just let this laptop just
okay,
on.
Thank you.
I'll put the slide first.
Yeah.
Okay, I will put this thing first. I will go to saya akan ke
Kalau misalnya nanti Anda ada pertanyaan gitu kan, tanyakan saja. Dr. Evans merupakan seorang peneliti yang sangat baik ya, hebat ya, penelitiannya banyak. Bahkan beliau sudah melakukan penelitian di kuantitatif dan kualitatif ya. Jadi monggo ya. Silakan tanyakan. Kesempatan yang sangat baik ini. Sambil menunggu beliau untuk melanjutkan sesi berikutnya. Ya. Saya tertarik tentang apa, itu kan nggak apa-apa, sharing ide aja. Kira-kira bisa nggak dokter itu kan? Misalnya bagus mau tanya tentang ide skripsinya, ya, atau Elvia ibadah itu kan, semoga ya terkait dengan itu lagi nggak apa-apa. Nanti Dr. Evan akan memberikan masukan ya, masukan kira-kira yang manakah yang baik yang bisa dikerjakan. Dan ini merupakan sesi terakhir ya. Jadi silakan dimanfaatkan sebaik-baiknya. Nah, ini sepertinya memang lengkap ya dari S1, S2, S3 dan ada beberapa dosen juga. Ya. Sambil menunggu Prof. Evan datang. Tadi seperti dikatakan Dr. Evan juga ya, kuantitatif atau kualitatif itu menurut saya sama baiknya sih. Ya, itu tergantung pada apa yang akan mau dicapai, apa yang akan mau digunakan dalam melakukan penelitiannya. Ya. Oke, tunggu sebentar ya.
Alright, I'm back.
Thank you, Dr. Evan.
Sebentar ya. No problem. Sebentar sekejap ya. Let me. Saya mencari artikel saya tadi. It's online actually. Easy to find. Social Research Indicator. Saya Google saja sendiri. Tengah download. Wait for another 1-2 minutes. Hopefully my. Okay, I got the article. Daripada Springer, social research indicator. title artikelnya ialah How do students evaluate instructor performance? Implication of teaching ability, physical attractiveness and psychological factor. Saya share di dalam chat sekarang. Saya share di dalam chat supaya semua boleh dapat secara free.
Thank you, Dr. Evan.
Yeah, no problem. This one is good. Nanti a lot of people can cite me also. Good promotion. Good promoting my my own article. Ini dia. Okay, saya sudah letak di sana. Okay. Di dalam chat box, yeah. I hope everyone got it. Ya, kita kembali kepada slide ini. Kita kembali pada slide. Okay, ini adalah bahagian untuk data analisis, tetapi saya tidak menunjukkan mana-mana program ataupun analisa data. Saya hanya lebih kepada general view of the data analysis, right? Especially on quantitative and qualitative, because dia lebih kepada dua tu, qualitative dan quantitative. Mungkin saudara-saudari semua boleh, I mean all of you can look at what is happening. Internet is not so stable here. Not good. Right, so again another quote. We do not, strictly speaking, have knowledge. What we have is a theory about real world, which we have so far resisted refutation. Our theory at the moment are truthfully knowledge, they are conjecture. So anyone, this one actually lebih, I mean apa-apa yang kita buat, kita kena ada teori. Walaupun kita buat quantitative ke, qualitative ke, research ataupun mixed method, it must be based on theory. And we try to link to the real world, right? The practicality, and we can test that practicality. Test maybe if it's quantitative, test the hypothesis. Jika dia qualitative, dia lebih kepada melihat pada scenario, pada case, and so on. So it depending on the kind of thing that we are doing, right? So ini saya letak. This is the same slide. Macam di semalam, I mean yesterday from the first part, but then again we are now somewhere here. Yesterday we discussed a little bit on this one, right? Discuss a little bit on the research objective related to problem statement, and then depending on the problem itself, and then what types. Just now on the research design, actually depending on what you are doing. So this is the design. This is more on the research design. Whether you're doing survey, experiment, secondary data, observation ke, there's a lot of kind of I mean and all of these have different design yang berbeza. Same thing goes up here, right? And then after that you will have this kind of thing. I will discuss a little bit on this thing. Right, on this thing, on the a little bit on the sample, not too much. Surely you know that you have probability sample, non-probability sample, and then how you're going to gather the data, whether in the field, whether through online, whether through secondary data, and then put some editing, coding to the data to analyze, data processing. You get some results. Yeah. This will be mostly on this part. This session mostly on this part. And lepas tu, you have to interpret and do the report of your thesis and submit to a journal and so on and so on. Right? So yeah. So basically, that's why saya bermula lagi daripada permulaannya. You must know that the theory must be there, and because it's very much related to the whole research. Teori kena ada. You should know your own theory, mana satu yang sesuai untuk your own research, dan dia berkait rapat dengan your data analysis. Dan the more more general one will be these two: induction, deductive, dan inductive. Right? Deductive dan inductive. Okay, induction and deduction. Deduction is more to quantitative deduction. Ini lebih kepada quantitative. Ini lebih kepada qualitative. Ini paradigm dia. Dan daripada itu, kamu akan tahu bagaimana kamu nak buat. How you going to use your design and what types of methodology yang sesuai, what types of data analysis yang sesuai. So that's why it's important. Sebab itu saya memberi ini sebagai permulaannya. So you have theory, you have your hypothesis, observation ke, eksperimen ke, lepas tu confirmation, you get your result, dapat keputusan, interpret dan semuanya. Alright? So it's like deductive is like top-down approach. Daripada teori, lepas tu pergi kepada hypothesis, daripada ujian you have uji dia, specific data through questionnaire, through observation, through experimentation, and so on. Then after that, secondary data, and then you get and then you test the theory whether it's correct or not, which is yesterday saya pun ada I did touch about that. So it's a top-down approach. The other one, this one is just example. You want to test. For example, you wish to test whether what's the high reason. What's the reason for high employee absent in the retail store? For example, this is more to management kind of research or strategy kind of research. And then you can use quantitative data to verify the hypothesis. You develop the hypothesis and then to test. If let's say this is the objective, ini adalah objektif kamu, right? For example, induction is like building the theory. In the end, you build something based on the framework that you have, based on the theme that you have, tema based on that. So you observe, and then you have a pattern maybe, and then you have tentative hypothesis, and then after that, in the end, hopefully you develop a theoretical understanding, which further on can use at the induction. So that's why tadi ada satu just now you have a question, a very valid question. Kita boleh buat ini dahulu, lepas itu kita buat yang ini. You test that, both sides. Okay? And this one is called bottom up. Dari bawah ke atas. Yang dari tadi, dari atas ke bawah. Okay? Building up the theory. Alright? And that's why qualitative dan quantitative dia boleh dikawinkan. Boleh menjadi mixed method. No problem. But you have to be very clear. Apa kamu nak buat sebenarnya? Apa objektif dan apa kamu nak capai in the end of the day, what you want to achieve in the end, right? Whether you want to answer certain things, whether you want to test the theory, whether you want to build up another new perspective of the theory, and so on. All right, so this is, for example, from qualitative perspective, same thing, masih persoalan yang sama. Kenapa tidak pergi bekerja? Employee absenteeism in retail store. Go to the floor, shop an employee, understand better the nature of the problem, kenapa dia berlaku, daripada collect data, daripada questionnaire, dan kita melihat pada qualitative data to analyze, formulate the theory, and relate that to certain pattern or evidence or theme that you find, right? Ini mungkin melalui interview. Interview melihat pada apa masalahnya, kenapa tak datang kerja dan semuanya. Yang ini tadi just buat hypothesis, collect data through questionnaire, and then you get the result. Here, the other way around, right? Two different way answering same problem, two different approach, right? Ini sebagai gambar rajahnya lah. Kuantitatif dia begini, lebih kepada numbers. Qualitative lebih kepada words. It's called inductive and deductive. Alright. Yang ini saya dapati daripada satu homepage yang agak menarik. You can look at the homepage, Question Pro. They have this kind of thing for qualitative. 5 steps of creating qualitative study. You can follow it. Yang tadi ada soalan juga tadi. I mean, you have a question from the floor just now asking me on how to start qualitative study. Beginner like you, Anissa, you can refer to this, and the rest of you, yang siapa yang berminat nak buat qualitative, look at this, explore. Here it says 5 steps to create qualitative study. Create a project layout with objective. Apa objektif? Apa kamu nak capai? And then second one is create outline of question to ask. Yeah, you must know what soalan kamu nak tanya kepada your participant, your sample, and then recruitment from your community. Depending, mungkin lihat pada community, lihat pada pekerja dan siapa-siapa, your sample. Then conduct the research, and then after that crunch the data and prepare the report. Dia pun ada data, tapi datanya bukan dari segi numbers, not in terms of numbers 1, 2, 3 and so on, but in other way. Look, the analysis is other way. Right? Very different types of analysis. Very interesting and different types of analysis. So this one also another one. Yes, so sorry I lost again. I don't have option here for my internet. Right, anyhow, so let me go back here for the qualitative. The qualitative research method ada beberapa. This is the method that you can use. Case study, saya sudah explain just now in the research design. Again, this one very related to your data analysis. Once you know apa method yang sesuai, then you know what type of data and analysis that you can use. Record keeping, dia macam journal record keeping, or maybe like every day you record this is what happened, this is what happened. It's a kind of qualitative research method. It's a kind of research method actually, but qualitative, right? And then you observe, you process. Like I told you yesterday, saya ada bincang, I did mention to you yesterday, one of the way to look at the observation is maybe to stay with the people, to know what is happening, right? To stay with the people in the rural area, to know the scenario, to understand the scenario, right? And then we use that as a very good observation. Same thing here, right? Ethnographic study, very much related also to qualitative kind of research. If you are involved in, look at that, boleh mencari apa maksudnya ini. Focus group, dia mungkin kita nak melihat pada certain phenomena. You want to know just the dia punya implication daripada focus group itu. Dan focus group itu mungkin adalah the most important one that you want to know. Okay, so a lot of scenario, ada scenario tertentu, dan one-on-one interview. Ini mungkin lebih kepada case study, lebih kepada melihat pada satu saja scenario dia. Itulah qualitative. Nothing wrong. In qualitative, sampel dia mungkin 1 sahaja, ataupun 2 sahaja, ataupun 5 sahaja sampelnya. Boleh. Qualitative, but not quantitative, right? And it depends on what you are doing. Apa yang kamu nak buat. Okay, ini contohnya qualitative study. I can share with you this article also if you want. I did not give to the organizer. Saya bagi satu lagi artikel yang lagi menarik. Ini lebih kepada qualitative study, data analysis in qualitative study, a brief guide using NVivo. Ini salah satu the software yang menggunakan qualitative study, famous qualitative. This one study is in medicine, right? In medicine. For example, dia mungkin agak kecil di sini, tapi this is what they do in qualitative research, right? How we can analyze the study in NVivo. NVivo is a very good software untuk qualitative. Dia juga ada softwarenya, ada softwarenya tertentu. NVivo dan banyak lagi software. Right? Ini just example. Yang ini yang agak-agak penting dan agak terbaru. I share this article because it's very, very good journal also, Accounting and Finance, the name of the journal. This one published in 2019. Ini paper 2019. It says that qualitative accounting research, dispelling myth and developing a new research agenda. Akuntansi pun ada banyak yang buat qualitative. Boleh baca artikel ini. Saya ada bagi artikel ni for the organizer, and hopefully semua akan dapat artikel ni. Jika tidak, I can put in the chat room here, no problem, for everyone. Free, because I got it for free, I give you for free. So, ini contoh commonly used qualitative in accounting research. Commonly used. Bukan saya cakap, dia yang cakap. So, I have to trust them. Interview, even questionnaire boleh digunakan. Still qualitative, depending on the type of question. Mostly open-ended. Question open-ended. Bukan jenis question yang Likert scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, setuju, tidak bersetuju, sangat-sangat tidak bersetuju, sangat tidak suka. No, bukan jenis question itu, but open-ended survey. Ethnography is a very popular analysis also, right? Interesting. The researcher can collect interesting data when the research inside an organization or as one of the member. Maksudnya, this one just an example that I give you just now. You go to the company and be a spy, mungkin. Be a spy, stay with them, see what happened, observe what they do, and so on, to see the analysis. Stay with them, independent observer. Or you stay with a community and see what happened with the community throughout certain period of time. That is a kind of study, right? Intervention approach, intervention research is a case study, right? Researcher involve themselves in the working directly with the manager to see what is happening. So it's like intervention. It's a more of case study. Means that you go with the company. It's like ethnographic, but this one more on the case study itself. And content analysis. It's a very qualitative. Sorry. Involve coding of qualitative and quantitative information into certain content. So you must know the content, and then you quote it, do some coding, and lepas itu. So, like what our one of the questions just now, with this kind of method, especially in related to accounting research, related to qualitative, it seems nampaknya mungkin agak susah, tetapi boleh dibuat. It can be done. It's not that it's not difficult, but then again, it's very timely maybe. And another method, which I very much doing it right now, is you can review the article, review the research structure, literature review, and conceptual paper. That is why I always the new thing I discover, not new things. The new thing I'm doing right now is I try to write and publish article that is related to literature review. Means that I write literature review article. Maksudnya, salah satu method yang selalunya digunakan dan dia berkaitan dengan kualitatif ialah SLR, systematic literature review. Right? It's like doing content analysis but in a different way. Or some analysis call it also meta-analysis. Meta-analysis involve numbers, so dia bukan qualitative, not so qualitative. SLR is, and another one is called bibliometrics analysis. Analisis juga, tapi analisis dia tidak involve numbers. Analisis dia mungkin graph, bubble, and so on and so on. Very interesting one. Saya masih belajar lagi, tetapi we try to come up with some publication on this kind of thing. So you can also involve, you can do that. Chapter 2 kamu, siapa-siapa yang buat thesis, mas S2 ke, S1 ke, S3 ke, ataupun kawan-kawan dosen saya, when you write your chapter 2, especially literature review, you can do this kind of literature review. Buat seperti begini, bukan buat daripada cara konvensional kita. Buat dia begini, lepas itu boleh dihantar pada jurnal, boleh dipublish. Dan apa benefit dia, apa faedahnya? I mean, what's good thing about that? If you review article and you publish review article, you certainly will get more citation. People will know you because then and then you will suggest what can we do in the future. Like this article, macam artikel ini juga, ini adalah artikel literature review dan dia macam kuantitatif lah. Qualitative lah sebenarnya. Ini adalah literature review article. Dan characteristic of the good qualitative research paper ini. Look at this. Look at this thing. And ini yang penting yang di sebelah sini. Opportunity for future qualitative accounting research. Siapa-siapa yang belum lagi ada topik, boleh explore ini. Boleh explore ini. Banyak ni. Banyak boleh explore ni. But qualitative accounting research particularly suited to examine how accounting influence particular members of the society, how they influence the accounting purposes, the accounting profession itself, and so on. You can look at this. Accounting influence employee in the context, if that's what you're doing. Work-life balance, working condition, employee satisfaction, employee commitment, compassion. This all semua ni boleh dibuat kuantitatif juga, tapi dia boleh dibuat kualitatif juga. Can be done, suggested by them. Very good one, right? You can look at this. Of course, employee are one group of within society. The same sort of question can be asked to the other group of the society. For example, how accounting be used or influence this one. Ini pun selalunya dibuat pada kualitatif juga. Sorry, I closed the I closed my slide. Lebih pada kuantitatif, tapi boleh dibuat oleh kualitatif yang ini. Ini selalunya dibuat kuantitatif. Kenapa tak buat kualitatif? Boleh. This article say boleh, dan artikel ni publish 2019, bukan 20 tahun lepas. So it's quite new. And I put up this slide, although might not itu sudah bukan berakhir, itu adalah bahagian kualitatif. Ini bahagian masuk dalam bahagian kuantitatif. Ini kuanti. Boleh kuali, tapi mostly on quantitative. Like this, for example. Ini contohnya bukan not necessarily accountancy. Ini boleh jadi dari monetary ataupun dari segi financial economics ataupun international economics. Look at this. If those of you interested, maybe those of you doing more on maybe performance, firm performance, earning performance, do some other research related, ada banyak variable. Variables especially in quantitative. Now I move to quantitative. Ini permulaan kuantitatif. Contoh macam ini. Saya nak melihat pada mungkin stock market ini lebih pada finance ke, ataupun boleh masuknya dalam economics juga. Ini mungkin semua variable dia. So I need to test. I need to uji, test all these hypotheses. Dan semua arrow ni, all these arrow actually are related. Draw up this graph, draw up this figure, and then you you want to know the test the hypothesis. Wow, ini macam framework, tapi ini bukan framework. This is just a drawing of variable that are related. Okay, for example like this. Ini lebih pada quantitative. And sebab saya mulakan yang quantitative. So quantitative will involve a lot of statistic, quantitative data. Dia boleh dari datanya boleh dapat daripada sekundar ataupun primer. Boleh, both way, no problem. Right? And although I focus mostly on economic research, tetapi dia boleh dikembangkan di bidang-bidang lain yang menggunakan method quantitative yang banyak in UNS dan di semua mostly menggunakan quantitative, right? So surely the data analysis, ini dia data analysis. Normally you collect the data and then you process the data through questionnaire, through secondary data, and then you check the data. Maybe you can plot if you use secondary data, or maybe you can some of the data actually are in sometimes is Excel already online, good. Some of the database, for example, Central Bank or the IFS. IFS is International Monetary Statistic, or related to IMF or some other institution, World Bank or something like that. If secondary, this is more to secondary. If you do survey, then you need to clean the data, bersihkan data dahulu, buang mana yang tidak patut dan semuanya. So kena ada procedure dia. You must have the standard procedure. And then after that you do estimation, hypothesis testing, diagnostic check, all these things, and make conclusion and try to link to the real world, the reality. That's basically the quantitative. So this is just some of the analysis in quantitative that being used. Descriptive, statistic, right? You can have all these things maybe. I think is quite common for all of you here. Regression also common. You have this thing, dependent variable, independent variables, depending. Just now, if I go back to this model ini, persoalannya di sini, mana satu dependent variable? Mana satunya dependent variable-nya di sini? If this is quantitative research. It is quantitative research, mana satu dependent variable. Okay, dan ada persoalannya juga. Right? There's a lot of question there. Right, so yes, and then we have this. I mean, this one saya tak perlu menjelaskan dengan lebih lanjut. I'm sure that you know what is the why we do regression. We want to know the examine, to analyze, to examine, to forecast. Ini boleh jadi objektif di mana-mana tesis. To analyze, to examine, to forecast. If you want to forecast, boleh jadi sebagai objektif. Sudah ada 3 objektif, right? Boleh. Dan ini simple regression, 1x 1y, multiple regression, ada banyak y. I mean, not ada banyak y, sorry, ada banyak x variables, independent variables. This is normal in multiple regression, right? And the method that we use is OLS, and then most of the time, other than the descriptive statistic, we want to know the correlation. So it can be negative and positive, right? Negative and positive, positive correlation, negative correlation, or positive correlation, strong, very strong, and moderate, weak, or very weak, depending. This kind of analysis is also important. This part of descriptive statistic, also the correlation. And then you have this R square. In the end, most of the regression in multiple regression, you will have the R square, including if you do SEM, structural equation modeling. Also, you will most of the time you will interpret the SEM. You will interpret the model, the tested, and then you will look at the validity of the items, itu semua kuantitatif. Itu semua kuantitatif. You do SEM ke, other method ke. If you do panel studies, also same thing. If you do cross-sectional studies, also same thing. You look at the R square also, and so on. And time series also. I think this part of it, I move a little bit faster because just now we have delay in that sense. But I will have more time of you to ask me question, especially if I could share with you. Boleh saya untuk part ini saya mengambil masa yang agak singkat, tapi I hope you get some point. Saya, I mean, I've explained to you a little bit on qualitative, what you can do, and quantitative. Qualitative, semua benda ni tak ada, sebab qualitative more on the coding, more on team, more on case study kind of a scenario, right? Like ini tadi saya bagi contoh yang ini. Coding, apa maksud coding tu? Certain analysis come out, dia ada different types of analysis, right? You can do this kind of simple analysis. Alright, dari segi quantitative, dari segi qualitative. Okay, that I think I would stop there for now. You can ask me question, and then I will try to my best to respond. Okay, thank you very much for that. Yeah, thank you very much for this. Boleh tanya soalan, masukkan soalan. Ya, saya pass kembali kepada moderator, Prof. Dodi.
Okay, terima kasih, Dr. Lau. Yeah, it's interesting ya. Regarding the data analysis, ada pertanyaan atau soalan in the chat box?
Ada soalan ya?
Ada, Dokter. Ini ada satu yang dari Nurtria Rendi Rahmadi. Ya, he's from Kementerian di Ministry of Tenaga Kerja ya. That's for PhD. Since the times schedule is only 3 to 4 years, that's a big question. How to design good research for PhD study? Please, I think this is the first question. Please.
Can you repeat the question just now? 3 to 4 years of PhD thesis.
Yeah. How to design a good research for PhD study?
Okay. If work with ministry, right? This one is from the ministry.
Tenaga kerja is, I mean,
human resource.
Human resource.
Yeah, Ministry of Human Resource. Ada banyak data tu. There's a lot of data there. Good. There's a lot of data that you can do. So, I could not suggest specifically apa jenis topik yang boleh dibuat, but I would say that you can use your the place that you work, your kementerian, to get the data and do the research related to your kementerian supaya senang dapat data. Contohnya data sekundar lah, secondary data. You can get a lot of data maybe from human resource side on, maybe for example, I just give example. Di zaman pandemik ini sekarang, mungkin I mean ramai juga yang akan dan telah hilang pekerjaan. So you can see the impact of that towards the business, towards the sector, towards the economy of the country, and or the economy of the district, or the economy for the for each of the kabupaten mungkin, ataupun so on and so on. Jika data ada, they will be very interesting to do, right? Yes, it's very, very interesting to do if your data is there, because you are in part of this kementerian. I'm sure datanya ada. Mungkin Yeah, so the data is
Very
very
interesting.
rich. Yeah, very interesting. So can look at quantitative. Dan saya pastinya boleh habiskan dalam 3-4 tahun. 3-4 tahun. Ataupun lebih cepat daripada itu. Sebab datanya sudah pastinya ada.
Yeah.
Ya.
Have
Dan
access for
yang
that.
diperlukan hanya untuk the access for the sometimes access for the data itu mengambil masa yang lama untuk mencari data.
Yeah, that's very important.
Right? Mengambil masa lama. So if you have the access, thank God. Amin. You have the access, then very good. So I think that's one of the suggestion that I can give you. Thank you very much for that question.
Okay,
That's
thank
all.
you. From the Ministry of Manpower, Dr. Arman.
Yeah, manpower. No problem.
The second question is from Triana Lidona. He's from Lombok. Dia bertanya, apakah strategi perkembangan industri pariwisata dengan perilaku entrepreneurship masyarakat pada penempatan kepercayaan studi kasus di kawasan ekonomi khusus Mandalika, Kabupaten Lombok Tengah. Is it the mixed method? Is it the mixed method?
Okay. What do you mean by industri pariwisata?
And tourism.
Oh, tourism.
Yeah.
Oh, tourism industry.
Yes.
Okay.
To develop the tourism industry with entrepreneur skill, then penempatan kepercayaan unsur bergening. That's they how to develop in the tourism industry in Mandalika, Lombok. Is it possible to use a mixed method?
Very local. Very the first thing I would say that the topic is very local, sangat local. But if you talk about tourism, it's a very important sector. Not only right now, but any time of the day is very important sector. Any time for any country in the world. Maybe especially if you have to focus on Lombok itself, which is actually the tourism attraction for Indonesia, other than Bali maybe in that sense. And okay, so you can do both. I think you can look at the perspective of quantitative and qualitative. Dia boleh menggunakan mixed method, boleh. But you have to go to the ground. For the qualitative, you have to go to the ground. Maksudnya to interview these people, to know what is happening, to know what's the problem, especially right now in the pandemic. So few things you can include inside your model or inside your analysis. One thing is that make sure your tourism sector ataupun tourism model, this model cuba kaitkan dengan SDG ataupun Sustainable Development Goal. SDG link to SDG. First, kena all research, semua research yang kita buat cubalah kita kaitkan dengan SDG. Walaupun dia mungkin tiada kaitan 100%, tapi ada kaitan 50%, cukuplah. Baik. So SDG, this is what I feel right now. First, the second one, di zaman pandemik ini, so mungkin ada banyak masalah ataupun things to work out better, and how this place can go back again to their glory days ke, ataupun menarik lebih banyak pelancong balik to go for this tourism place. What kind of thing they can improve better so that people will go back again for this place. So boleh dibuat dari segi itu, boleh dibuat daripada kualitatif dan kuantitatif. So two perspective. Kualitatif mungkin dari perspektif tourism itu sendiri ataupun pengendali tourism itu sendiri. Pengendali maksudnya orang yang those who own the chalet, own the hotel, and so on, those people there. And from quantitative, lihat daripada segi yang pergi yang libur dekat sana daripada like me going to Lombok, me going to Bali or going to Indonesia to have holiday and tourist as a tourist. So do perspective. One perspective from the point of view of the apa yang memberi hikmat, dan satu lagi yang to get that services. So both, I think they'll be very good. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you, Dr. Evan.
Yeah, no problem.
There's another question regarding the SLR, systematic literature review. Is it tend to qualitative study? Why you?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Okay. This question on the SLR, the question on SLR, actually, you are right in one way. It can be quantitative or qualitative. It depending on apa yang kamu buat di dalam SLR tu. If you do the SLR and involve a lot of numbers, you do analysis, because it involves numbers also. Involves numbers, you explain maybe some numbers, then it's more to quantitative. But if it's just a write-up, words, and you do the analysis on visualization, you have a bubble there, bubble here, bubble. Ada satu software namanya VOS Viewer, VOS Viewer can use to analyze the SLR and put some interesting figures, gambar inside there. Then I think there will be more to qualitative. Tapi dua-duanya boleh, tiada salah. Dan it's not really a matter. It's not really a big problem. It's not really a big problem whether it's quantitative or qualitative. Most importantly, kamu buat SLR.
That's a big statement. Most importantly, kamu buat itu. Yes, that's correct, Dr. Evan. Okay. One of the main criteria for research is the research is selesai.
Yeah, research selesai, no problem. Quantitative, qualitative, itu based on what you believe in. Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih, Dr. Evan. Any other question? Ada pertanyaan yang lain?
Ada pertanyaan.
Prof. Dodi, please.
Oh, please, silakan.
Yeah, Prof. Lau?
Yes.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, that you mentioned that deductive research mostly conducted quantitatively, but is it still any possibility to conduct it qualitatively? If so, do you please share any runs that or references that can refer to, so we can conduct it in a proper methodology. Thank you, Prof. Lau.
That's from Elvia Ifada.
Yeah, I think just now I'm having not a very good connection here. I do not get your question. So sorry. I do not get your question just now. Elvia. Yeah.
Epi, lagi tolong ulangi lagi.
Okay. I will repeat it again.
Yes.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, you mentioned that the deductive research mostly conducted quantitatively. Is it still any possibility to conduct it qualitatively? If so, could you please share any references that we can refer so we can conduct it in a good, proper methodology, Prof. Lau?
Okay. All right. So, I get your point. Deductive. As my reading, deductive is more to quantitative. This is based on my reading, right? But if you want to explore more on whether it can be done in qualitatively, then I think the best way is you to explore. But based on my knowledge, my limited knowledge, as far as I know, the deductive is more to quantitative. That's based on my understanding. But maybe there is another way of doing it qualitatively. But I would know. This is something to explore more. I think you will need to explore more to know that to know whether this can be done qualitatively rather than just quantitatively. But yeah, you can explore that more. But as far as I know, they are more to the quantitative. Qualitative, I'm not sure whether it can be done in such a way, because normally we test hypothesis in quantitative rather than qualitative, just for my understanding, right? But thank you for the question. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah,
But
no
is
problem.
it still any possibility?
I'm
Okay,
not sure.
thank you.
I could not answer that because I do not have that kind of I would not say something that I'm not familiar with. All right.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Yeah.
Thank you, Evi. Oke, ada lagi yang mau bertanya?
Ya.
Silakan.
So,
Pakai bahasa Indonesia pun boleh.
Ya, bahasa Indonesia pun boleh. But other than that, just to share, just to extra. This is just extra. If you feel down sometimes when you do your thesis, bacalah komik ini. Tapi komik ini sudah tidak it's still there. It's still there, but there's no new comic anymore. Tetapi kamu boleh rujuk pada komik itu sejak tahun 1997. They have the comic since 1997. PhDcomic.com. Very interesting. Written by a person who do the PhD at the time, and then he write up the comic. And boring, bacalah komik ini dan boleh
press lagi, Prof ya.
Ya, untuk
press lagi.
Untuk release stress, lepas itu boleh melihat pada then you can see that, oh, this is what happened to me also. Ini pun berlaku pada saya. Okay, so you can link to yourself. So it's an interesting, not necessary kena buat S3 untuk baca komik ini. Dia boleh mana-mana, S2, S1 pun boleh baca. Saya pun baca juga. Sometimes to release stress sometimes. And this is another thing. Let's say after you finish your PhD or finish your master, what you will do? What can you do? Right? To become academician or something like that. Anyhow, so ada lagi soalan? Boleh tanya melalui chat box, melalui live.
Silakan. Tadi Santa Felix mau bertanya, silakan. Silakan dari siapa? Santa tadi udah chatting saya. Silakan. Langsung saya tanya ke Dr. Evan. Tidak apa-apa.
Ya.
Silakan, Santa.
Ya, silakan.
Ya. Ada pertanyaan?
Mungkin dia sudah terkeluar.
Okay.
Prof, can I ask something?
Oh,
Yes.
Santa.
Okay, thank you, Prof. First, I want to say thanks to Prof. Evan for this change. And also, I want to say Happy Teacher's Day for all teachers here.
Thank you, Santa.
Yes, sir. I want to ask some question, but for Mr. Lau, I'm sorry if this question too specific and maybe not to relate to your presentation. The first is, what is in your opinion, if we put analytical ratio to measure company's performance, for example, to measure fraud in financial statement. The second is, can data mining strategic effective if we use company annual report as our sample? The same sample is to measure fraud in financial statement. Thank you.
Okay. So 2 questions there. First question just now related to fraud also.
Yeah, so fraud.
Yes, sir.
Oh, both related to fraud. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting study that you have. I would say that I think what you can do, my suggestion to you, my suggestion and a little bit of advice to you is that look at the literature. Literature tu penting, dia macam satu kitab lah. Quran tu. Literature penting dan pastikan kamu ada literature yang terbaru. Bukan saja literature yang sudah publish 20 tahun lepas. Ada literature yang terbaru sekali, mungkin tahun 2020, tahun 2019 ke 2019 and so on, that talks about this thing. And then lihatlah pada literature tu, artikel tu, bagaimana mereka menggunakan data tu. Adakah data untuk company company report data is good enough to measure fraud, to good enough to measure certain kind of thing, to good enough to measure certain types of indicator. Adakah itu cukup sempurna? Jika dia belum lagi sempurna, cari lagi artikel lain untuk support your thing. Right? So the most easiest way, sesuatu yang sangat-sangat senang untuk dibuat oleh for this research is look at your literature, baca, dan especially literature terbaru, dan pastikan dia buat topik yang lebih kurang sama dengan kamu, lebih kurang, bukannya sama, lebih kurang, something to do with fraud, something to do with company, something to do with that kind of the keyword, and how they use the data, what type of data they use, what type of proxy data that they use, what type of measurement they use, what types of indicator that they use. Look at that all, and especially those article yang dipublish di journal yang lagi baik, yang lagi yang internationally recognized, not just local journal but international journal. Right, so then yang akan menjadikan tesis kamu lagi kukuh, lagi kuat, lagi sempurna. Dan apabila orang tanya, your examiner will ask you, where do you get this? Oh, I get this from this person, from maybe from the person who come out the theory about fraud. They are the one who observe this, then they are the one who use this as in that sense of data. So lihat pada itu, and I'm sure in accounting, your accountancy study, this is a very important issue, fraud especially. You want to look at the company final report. Maybe company final report not enough, you want to look further, dig further, gali lebih dalam lagi untuk mencari data-data yang boleh digunakan sebagai proxy ataupun sebagai indicator untuk fraud. If you ask me, the second part just now, if you ask me, look for the literature first. The second one is that I personally think that looking at just financial report or the annual report might not just be enough. You have to dig further. Gali lebih dalam lagi, mencari. Okay? Terima kasih pada soalan itu. And good luck for your research. I'm sure you're going to be very good. Right? Ada lagi soalan lain?
Ada lagi yang mau bertanya?
Ya. Dalam chat
ini satu lagi. Ada satu, Prof.
Oke.
Bagaimana menguatkan penelitian kualitatif agar tidak hanya terlihat berdasarkan opini saja? Terima kasih.
Kualitatif.
Ya, right.
Ya. Kualitatif, bagaimana menguatkan penelitian kualitatif? Yes, kualitatif itu, that is why, this is what I have to emphasize on this side. If you decide, jika kamu membuat keputusan untuk membuat research kamu menggunakan penelitian ataupun paradigma kualitatif untuk menjurus pada kualitatif, then kamu kena tahu bahawa kualitatif bukan sahaja melihat kepada opinion. Bukan saja, not just opinion. It's more than opinion. That is why in qualitative, most of the time you interview the most important person in that particular company, maybe in that particular things and so on. Those experts, we interview people who are expert. We interview people who are involved in that decision or involved in that particular implementation directly. We don't just ask for opinion. Opinion boleh semua orang boleh jawab. So that is why the sample day is very important. The data collection is very important, and how you quote your data is very important, and how you analyze the data is very important. Certainly, you must build that based on certain theory and certain research framework. So semua itu adalah berkaitan supaya research kamu qualitatively strong, cukup, kuat. Right? Jika itu tidak cukup lagi, then you can look into quantitative untuk menguatkannya. Tidak salah. Seperti yang saya katakan tadi, you have qualitative and then you have quantitative perspective, both. Right? Okay? Boleh. Itu yang saya boleh jawab untuk soalan tu kepada Putri Faiza. Ada soalan lagi satu ni, Santa Felix.
Ya. Terima kasih.
Ya. Terima kasih
terkait dengan data mining strategic. You want to know more regarding the data mining strategy in the research study.
Oh tadi itu pun that's one of the questions now. Sorry, I forget about the data mining. Data mining, depending on what type of data mining that you're using. I'm not sure whether how you use the data mining. What sort of data mining that you're using? Are you gathered it from just one place, or you gathered it from hundreds of company, or you look at what types of perspective that you look at the data mining strategy? I'm yet to be more specific. Yes, data mining is one of the strategy to collect data, maybe or to analyze the data in some sense, or to observe the data. But you must understand how, I'm sure you know that, how you're going to use it for the benefit for your research later, right? And if just now you asked me about annual report, as I told you just now, it depends what you want to do. If you relate that back to fraud just now, I already provide you my pendapat saya, my opinion is that, or my thinking was, I don't think annual report is just enough for that. It doesn't matter whether you use data mining or whatever method. Maybe you have to use more than that to find out certain things, especially related to fraud. I'm sure dalam fraud measurement tu ada banyak indikatornya. Ada indicator tertentu, ada measurement tertentu, certain measurement. So maybe annual report might not just be enough. Maybe certain things, maybe certain not just annual report, maybe you can get some data from the meetings, daripada meeting diorang, daripada other information, maybe from the other perspective. So I don't know. That's what I think for now. That's what I think, and you must explore further what sort of data mining that you want to get involved in, right? But again, thank you very much for the question.
Terima kasih, Dr. Felix. Terima kasih, Dr. Evan.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Prof. Dodi, please.
Please, Siti. TMI, silakan.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Prof. Dodi. Yesterday, after participating in visiting lecture day 1, I'm curious about Mr. Lau. So I look for about your CV in expert.unimas.my, and it was so amazing. Thank you for your willingness to share knowledge with us, because it will be very useful. And thanks also to the accounting and business department UNS for holding this event. First of all, I am student in S1 Akuntansi Transfer, where next year is my final semester, so I have to make research, and now I start to do a small thing like selecting topic, looking for journal references, collecting data, and etc. I want to ask Mr. Lau about her experience before becoming a research expert like this. of course, you have gone through the beginner phase, like me maybe, who is S1, not familiar with data processing application, data analysis, research design, and etc. How did you complete your first research with all limitation? Would you like share your experience, maybe?
That's interesting.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the
Remembering, remembering all time, Dr. Evan, please.
I think if like that, then I would need some years to explain my experience, because it's been sejak daripada beginning, itu sudah lebih daripada 20 tahun. But anyhow, I'm just telling you one thing. Good that you will do a research for your final year. Surely that you have to do a research, whether you're S1 ke S2 S3 ke. But one thing I have to correct you first. Is that I don't consider myself as an expert yet. But I'm still learning. Saya masih lagi belajar dan belajar untuk menjadi seorang researcher yang lebih baik daripada daripada apa yang saya ada sekarang. So I'm not really an expert, but I could share what I have for the past. Saya telah menjadi dosen selama 15 tahun sudah, tidak begitu lama. I finished my S3. I graduated my S3 16 years ago. 16 tahun lepas saya sudah mempunyai S3. Dan saya menjadi dosen di universiti Malaysia Sarawak selepas saya mempunyai PhD. But anyhow, so when I start, I think I have to be very thankful to my supervisor. My supervisor, especially when I do, bukan di zaman S1. Di zaman S1, kalau if you ask me zaman S1, saya langsung tidak tahu apa itu research. That's my real scenario. S1 saya langsung tak tahu apa itu research. I know I just take subject, I exam pass, and then final year I do one research. But I'm not so. I never proud of that research, because it's just doing a simple research based on very simple at that time, about 20 years ago. My research for my degree S1 adalah simple saja, buat ratio ini, calculate this ratio, calculate that ratio, explain this, explain that, itu saja. Saya tidak ada buat regression pun di dalam 20 tahun lepas. Itu 20 tahun lepas, you have to know things have changed after that. 20 tahun lepas itu S1. S2 saya sangat I'm blessed. I'm very blessed that saya I have my supervisor to show me a lot of things, although he don't show me directly. He asked me to read, baca ini, buat ini, dan saya cuba dari permulaannya. Agak sukar untuk mulai dahulu, lebih daripada 15 tahun lepas. Tidak ada social media, tidak ada internet, hanya it's a privilege to have internet 20 years ago. Privilege, we don't have smartphone, you don't have even laptop, you don't have desktop, so it's a privilege. Di mana cari jurnal artikel, semuanya di library. So kerja saya tiap hari berada di library, cari baca, pagi petang malam, baca tidur di perpustakaan. Dulu last time. Now you can get all online. Itu S2, itu zaman S2 saya. Dan saya graduate daripada Universiti Putra Malaysia, UPM, dan saya selalu berada di library, bukan di UPM, saya pergi library di Universiti Malaya, dan Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, dan juga saya juga selalu berada di library di Universiti Putra Malaysia lah. Dan I don't go and ask my supervisor often. When I meet him, Then I'll show him what I do, and then he will ask me more question. Lagi banyak soalan daripada saya tanya dia soalan. So saya kena tahu, saya kena ready. I need to know by myself. I will ask my friend, I'll discuss with my friends around me yang sama-sama buat S2. Dulu tak ada internet, susah dapat artikel dan semua, tapi kita cuba yang terbaik. So S2. Itu pengalaman saya. Dan masa itu saya belum lagi publish paper. Saya hanya publish paper di masa saya S3. S3 sebelum habis S3 saya sudah mempunyai 5 artikel, saya rasa 5 artikel dalam jurnal. 5. Wah, sebelum habis. Sebelum saya graduate saya sudah ada banyak, saya sudah ada few artikel. Itu juga thanks to my supervisor, because he teach me differently. He says write your article first, then write your thesis. Terbalik, bukan write thesis first, write article. Saya tulis artikel dulu baru tulis thesis. Itu S3. S2, S1 saya tidak ada buat begitu. So S3, supervisor saya train me differently, in a very different way. Susah mengikutnya, tetapi saya agak berjaya. Dan I think my supervisor sangat bangga dengan saya, very proud of me also. Eksperimen berjaya mungkin. So dan di masa saya graduate tahun 2004, 2004, S3, tidak perlu publish pun dalam jurnal untuk graduate. Tidak perlu, tidak ada. No such thing exists before that. No such thing that you must publish then you graduate. That thing only happens like 10 years ago, maybe Indonesia 2-3 years ago. For Malaysia mungkin 10 tahun yang lepas. Sebelum itu nobody cares apa tu Scopus. Apa benda Scopus? Apa benda website? Apa benda Clarivate? What is Q1, Q2, Q3? Nobody cares. But we publish. My supervisor say you must publish because you want to become a lecturer after this. Okay? I say okay. So I try hard. I write my article first. Lepas tu baru tulis thesis. Itu cara saya. Jangan diikut tapi boleh. So from my thesis, me and my supervisor, from my thesis saya boleh generate at least 5 paper. Dan lepas saya graduate, ada lagi banyak paper daripada thesis. Sebab objektif saya tak banyak, hanya ada 3. Tetapi cara membuatnya, analisis tu berbeza. So few different analysis, different country, and then you can come up with different paper. But the topic is still the same. The topic almost the same, similar. Dan saya masih membuat lagi topik begitu. Topik yang saya buat dalam PhD saya 16 tahun lepas. Kalau tambah zaman saya buat start my PhD 2001 saya 2001 I start my PhD. It's already 19 years ago. I still do that topic until today, which is related to current account deficit, budget deficit, fiscal policy, government debt. Itu semua topik saya dulu yang saya buat. Sampai hari ini saya masih buat. Saya masih very passionate about that topic because it's still very relevant until today. Relevant sampai bila-bila because it's related to policy ataupun related to the government policy in the country. So for a starter, this is based on my experience, I think you will need to sacrifice a lot of time, especially at the beginning, at the very, very beginning, because you cannot just rely on your supervisor. You have to rely on yourself, sendiri. Ini betul-betul alone lah, sendiri. Baca, fahamkan, baca, tak faham, mungkin tanya kawan-kawan. Saya jarang tanya supervisor saya, apa maksud ini, apa maksud itu, and so on. And my supervisor actually never teach me how to run in the software. Never. Actually, I teach my supervisor. Certain estimation, I teach him. But because I learn from somewhere else, I learn. Zaman itu tak ada YouTube juga. YouTube tak famous. I learn from my other PhD friends, and then I show to my supervisor, and then she say, "Oh, this is good. Oh, this one new method, this new method, and so on." And saya tidak malu at that time. Saya tidak malu juga sekarang. Saya tidak tanya supervisor most of the time. I will ask some other big name professor. Saya email pada profesor yang nama-nama besar yang membuat method itu, yang membuat method ini. Saya email, saya tanya, in a more formal way, how to do this, how to do that, how you estimate this. If I have this scenario, what can I do, and so on. So I'm very grateful. Some of them reply, some of them never reply. It's okay, and I learn from that, and I learn from reading. Right, I learn a lot from my own reading, and interpret in a way. So we must train ourselves to read. Spend more time, sacrifice, kurangkan masa tidur, banyakkan masa membaca. boleh berjaya. I'm sure that you can do it. So I'm still doing it until today. I'm still read, tetapi saya sekarang mungkin masa baca saya ada kurang sikit sebab ada commitment. But I still read if I can, and I still want to know a lot of things. I still learning. Ada banyak saya belajar lagi sekarang. I still learning on qualitative. I still learning on things I learn now on qualitative. I learn a lot of qualitative. I still explore. I still explore on SLR, bibliometrics, and a lot more related to that. So itu yang saya boleh cakap. That I can tell you. I wish all the best for your S1. When you finish up your S1, if you want to continue S2 ke, S3 ke, boleh datang ke Malaysia. Jemput datang Malaysia buat S2, S3, you know.
Jumpa
boleh.
Prof Evan.
Boleh. Jika berminat datang ke Universiti Malaysia Sarawak ataupun tempat lain selepas ini, jika saya berpindah. But I'm very loyal. Saya loyal. Saya sudah berada di sini 15 tahun dan mungkin until pension, but I don't know. But yeah, so far I'm still around. So thank you very much for the question. This is my experience.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Evan. I think its time is already up. Dan terima kasih ya atas this very inspiring talk, inspiring webinar for 2 days. Dan saya sangat berharap bahwa mahasiswa dan teman-teman dosen juga memperoleh manfaat ya, dan bisa menggunakannya untuk melakukan penelitian yang lebih baik kualitasnya. Dan saya yakin Dr. Evan akan sangat senang kalau ada yang mengontak beliau, ya bertanya langsung directly ke Dr. Evan, ya juga bisa. Ya nanti mungkin bisa lihat dari web email Dr. Evan, ya diskusi regarding your idea with Dr. Evan.
Ya, no problem.
Saya tidak akan menyimpulkan, tapi yang saya ingat bahwa dari sini ternyata penelitian itu sangat menarik dan kita tidak pernah cukup dengan apa yang kita miliki. Ya, seperti Dr. Evan, kita akan melakukan chance terus-menerus melakukan hal yang baru. Dr. Evan sekarang ternyata banyak tertarik melakukan qualitative dan interesting qualitative study. Ya, jadi boleh. Ya, untuk selanjutnya saya serahkan ke panitia. Silakan. Atau untuk penutupan. Monggo. Pak Dono atau Mbak Caca, silakan.
Terima kasih Pak Prof Dodi. Jadi untuk setelah selesai untuk acara pada hari ini, berakhir pula rangkaian acara dari visiting lecturer dari Associate Professor Evan Lau dari Unimas Malaysia. Di chatbox sudah tersedia dari material serta absensi, sehingga serta visiting lecturer bisa mengisi daftar hadir untuk dasar panitia untuk membuat sertifikat. Sertifikat akan kami kirim maksimal 1 minggu setelah acara selesai. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Prof. Evan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Evan.
Yeah, thank you. See you, Dodi.
Thank you.
Jogging. I want to go to jogging at UNS.
Of course. Especially this time that kita bisa ada autumn in UNS. Okay. Ini di office, Dokter.
Ya, saya di office. Kita boleh bekerja di pejabat. Kita boleh bekerja di pejabat. Ya, itu case di Malaysia positifnya sangat tinggi semalam. I think yeah, more than 2,000, but not here in Sarawak. Sarawak here still very so far, thank God, very in control, but not in West Malaysia. Di Selangor, very
Selangor.
high, 1,600 yesterday. Satu hari 1,600 case.
Oh, it's very, yeah.
So anyhow, take care, all of you. Thank you for inviting me, and see you all around. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, Dr. Evan.
Thank you, Mr. Evan.
Saya izin left.
Ya, saya pun left.